You're listening to Wake Up with Christopher DeSimone on the Live the Dream Media Network, Southern Arizona's premier live talk and online radio.
Morning, everybody. We're at Monday the 20th already. Holy crud. All right, there we go. We're having, for anyone who's watching on streams, the one thing you don't want to hear at your urologist or your broadcasting company is you're having streaming problems. So anyway, everything's working great on the app, Spotify and other things, but we are feverishly working to get the stream back up. Everyone's good on the app, and we'll power through on this October 20th. Hold on, a little Augusto to start the day. Good morning to you all. We have a fabulous show today. One of our favorite new guests is making his appearance. The wondrous Nils Grivellius, our private detective from Los Angeles, to talk about a variety of subjects. And then Brother Joe in the third hour. Lots of stuff to cover today. But as always, when I go out of town and I miss a couple of shows, I want to express my gratitude to our guest hosts. And it's important to keep... I like having the guest hosts. In the old days, you could run best ofs and things like that, which are fine in certain points. But at the same time, we have a good crew of people that we want to keep developing their skills doing what they do. So that's why Ted and Barney on Wednesday, thank you. We had Dan and Ben Beulah-Garcia on Thursday, thank you. And then Sean and Shelley on Friday, thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. Love what you guys do, and I love the support. And it's nice that I have a variety of humans that I can lean on to do such things. It's also very important to develop for people who don't do video podcasts. Maybe you've heard them as a guest host on radio, but it's good to develop their skills on the video side also. So we are always building a good bench here in the Wake Up, Live the Dream world. So thank you all of you good folks and all their guests. They had some great conversations. I caught some snippets because, again, when I'm on vacation, DeSimone's the first one up in the morning in the house. So usually I'm getting a couple of things done 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. It just doesn't, I'm not going to turn it off and wake up at 9. That's not going to happen. So anyway, thanks to all of you. And then we have, I was in St. George, Utah for the weekend for a wedding. And our very good friend Ryan married his lovely now wife, Judy. I was the best man in this thing. So it was a mix between I could have performed the wedding or I could have been best man. And it worked out better that a friend of ours, Rodney, also has done weddings. I think he's a fellow reverend in the American Fellowship Church, but he did the ceremony. I actually married Rodney and his wife Melissa. And anyway, Rodney did the ceremony and I was the best man. And then one of my buddies, Kevin, who I've known since kindergarten back in New York, him and Ryan became friends through me. We played D&D together. Then they started going on camping, hiking trips together. Anyway, he was in there too. So it was kind of a weird good thing that my very good friend that I've known for 49 years was also in the wedding. So very, very fun. St. George is beautiful. St. George is Oro Valley, Marana, fit inside Sedona, basically. It's got the red rocks going, but it's got some black, that kind of liquid hot magma, black lava fields that go through certain parts of it. And so we had a nice Airbnb in a neighborhood that we know is run professionally by a company that has all the units in the same spot. That was a total winner. It's next to my favorite supermarket in Utah called Harmon's, which is literally like a really, really well done, much better, bigger version of AJ's. And so that's always good to have in your back pocket. And just it was a great collection of family and friends celebrating this wonderful event. Thursday, you can bring up the photos, Tone. You can see on the left. Thursday, the crew, I did not go. They went on a thing called Angel's Landing. And as you can see, Angel's Landing is in Zion National Park. A couple of our kids went on that with some friends. That's Kevin. That's the backside of Kevin. But they went to Angel's Landing up in Zion, which, as you can see, I knew this was going to happen. I have people texting me because they can't watch it on the stream, so they want to know if I'm still on vacation. Hold on. Damn it. Streaming is down temporarily, period. Catch it on the app, period. You're missing amazing, boring vacation stories. All right. Now, it was Bill asking me if I was still on vacation. Thank you. So they did that, and basically you can see there's actually chains and guide. Some of the parts are so narrow that you actually should be holding on. They tell you to hold on to the chains. It's a permitted event. Even with the government shutdown, they had someone checking permits. But according to my crew that went up on this thing, they're still letting up so many people that kind of ruin it for you because it's just silliness. But when you get to the top, it's really the climb up and when you get to the top, you basically have this 360 view of Zion that's just breathtaking. So while they were doing that, I had no interest in that. Even though I do like hiking, I knew that was going to be a pain in the ass. So me and Mrs. D went up to Cedar City, Utah, up the road about 38 minutes, about somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 elevation. And they had a second storm. So they got hit by some of the stuff that hit us the weekend before. But then they had another storm. It's the one that was pouring in Southern California, blew through this area. And so it rained in St. George on that Tuesday, but it snowed in Cedar City. So the next morning, me and Mrs. D went over to Cedar City, and it was kind of nice because there was snow on the ground and on the roofs and all that good stuff. So I had my gloves on. I felt a little wintry. It was a little taste of winter in the middle of October. So that was very fun. That's the picture on the top right, which is that was in front of their city hall. Basically, they have these. They dress. See, they can dress up their downtown, right? Because if you had the scarecrow with the hay bale in Tucson, it would have been lit on fire. This is what happens. Oh, and they also had 49 retail stores compared to Tucson. How big is Cedar City? Hold on. Cedar City, Utah population is 42,000. It's like Marana, Oro Valley kind of size. The whole street, their whole historic downtown was filled with shops. So you can't have shops in city of Tucson because of the Fenty heads and the grime, and you can never do something as cool and seasonal as they had those scarecrows and hay bales up all over town, and then they have a thing about sheep. I guess that's maybe because there's a lot of grassland. So there are all these like decorative 3D stand-up sheep in front of different businesses. They would have been, they would. I'm sure the Fenty heads would have stole it, burned it, sodomized it. I don't know. It's just so nice to be in a town. And St. George is beautiful. My problem with St. George is like you think about moving there. For me, it would be it's just as hot as Tucson in the summer. And if I'm going to move, I'm not putting up with triple-digit summers anymore. That's ridiculous. So, but nice to visit. So anyway, Cedar City was great. Went to the All-American Diner, which was beautiful. Winter chicken dinner. And then the next day was, so you'll see this picture of me in the tuxedo. Well, very rarely will you see DeSimone in a tuxedo. but I wanted to share that with you. But here's the fun part. On the bottom right, I'm at Adrian's, which is the tuxedo rental place, and Adrian, the owner, is an absolute pleasure. And we had more fun than you're supposed to at a tuxedo fitting, humanly possible. And so, of course, someone mentions the idea that I do a podcast and blah, 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 because they mangled my name, my last name. They put Defioni or something. It was very cute. And then, so then I'm sitting on that couch, and then behind they had the Godfather picture. So that's me at my tuxedo fitting, and Adrian's had a Godfather picture, so it had to happen. And then, so anyway, Adrian, great shop. You know, the guy's like the Jedi master of sittings, of fittings and everything. Hold on. Was this? Oh, he want to know if this Ryan was the best unpaid intern. Actually, different Ryan. That's Ryan Larson. This is my buddy Ryan that I've known since freshman year of college. Which I did kind of go into that as part of my best man toast, and he got a little nervous. And I said, "Don't worry about it. We're fine. It's part of the whole story." I did knock the toast out of the park. Not that you should be surprised, but I knocked the best man toast out of the park. Anyway, so we had a wonderful time, and then we went to the Silver Reef brewery place after the fittings, and just had a good man lunch together with some Oktoberfest beer and things like that. So that was good. And then a beautiful, what do you call that thing? Rehearsal kind of reception. And then Saturday was the wedding, and the weather was beautiful. I mean, the weather was beautiful here, but, you know, it was like, I think it was like 68, 69 on Saturday. Outdoor wedding at this beautiful kind of studio event center, and it was beautiful. Food was great. And they kind of did like more heavy appetizers, which was really smart, and everything was really good. The caterer deserves kudos. The bride's mom baked all, 120 cupcakes plus a cake for them to cut, and so Mama Stowers did a great job there, and it was a winner. And then yesterday we drove back. We went through, there's two ways to go from St. George. You go through Vegas and come back through Wickenburg and Wickiup and all that crap, which I can't stand. That ride's so boring. So we did the other way, which is go through Polygamy World, then to Fredonia, then to the Navajo Bridge over the Grand Canyon, which for the first time ever we stopped. And I think my favorite part of that, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. In the bathrooms, it's the nicest bathroom that you would find in a kind of a really cool stone building. And but they had the warning, like the warning pictures. They had the pictures of when you're supposed, like it was kind of your guidance on what to do in the toilet, kind of in the bathrooms. And they had something that I'm like, what's going on? It says they had a picture of, the kind of the shadow silhouette picture of the person, and they're kind of squatting, like they look like a catcher in baseball, right? And it said, "Do not use the floor, use the toilet." What is going on here? Is there such a breakdown of society at the Navajo Bridge Visitor Center that people are just squatting on the floor? What is going on here, people? But it was absolutely beautiful. And then we went to Flagstaff, got some gas, and went to Mama Burger, which is our favorite place for burgers in Flagstaff. And that was just beautiful. I had the green chili cheeseburger, which was magnifique. They also do a very good smash. They're all smash burgers, but they do a really nice job. One called the Sheppy. The girls got that. That's the one where they smash the burger into onions that are grilling on the actual flat top, and so you got like this crispy onion layer to your burger. It's pretty darn good. So anyway, overall, an amazing weekend. St. George is beautiful. It's that perfect, we're talking about Oro Valley tourism in relation to we're a safe place to, that you can stay in and live in while you go explore the region, right? St. George has that feel. There's nothing much to do in St. George other than it's a beautiful place that has these amazing parks around it. Even like Snow Canyon State Park, which is literally just north of town, is just fabulous. Everything's around. I mean, there's the things that are north and around St. George is pretty impressive. So if you want, and you know, it's the place is safe, clean. You could eat off the streets in St. George. Food scene, absolutely terrible. Don't go, dude. You're not looking for great food at a restaurant. There's a couple of solid things. I got a good breakfast place you can go to. I like there was a New York, New Jersey pizza place, which is hilarious. There's a really cool Nielsen's that makes homemade custard that does a nice job. Ice cream custard. There's a few decent places, a couple of these breweries. But in the entire town, there's probably about 5 places I would actually spend money and eat. So get a really good Airbnb. We had a really beautiful one, and have a nice Harmon's supermarket near you, and you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. Let's run through some stories, and then we'll go to break and pray streaming comes back one day. I know there's a bunch of hubbub about Savannah Guthrie and the photo op with the mayor of Tucson. I know you guys are going to be shocked. It's all paid for. That was not natural. Savannah Guthrie did not come back to Tucson to just visit friends. And went, hey, Mayor Romero, let's go meet at El Charro. All paid. It's got to be paid. I texted Felipe to see how much. Visit Tucson's been hijacked by the mayor. That's where we're at. Because she wore her Visit Tucson shirt to the No Kings protest rally. I was under the. This is a text message from a city employee. I'll read to you about mayor foolishness. Bill Maher is the only guy calling out the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. Congratulations to Bruce Ash's unbelievably high payroll Dodgers, but for getting into the World Series, that's Major League Baseball's got to figure that out. But Shohei Ohtani did have one of the greatest single player performances on Friday night in relation to 3 home runs and pitching a win to the World Series is pretty impressive. Kamala, there was a thing about Kamala getting roasted for suggesting she was the most qualified presidential candidate in U.S. history, and it really came up with a conversation that came up over cocktails over the weekend was, what do the Dems have to offer? Because even the No Kings thing is just silly after a while. Virginia Giuffre, who is one of the Epstein victims, has a book, and there's a few things coming out with that. Golf legend Phil Mickelson takes a swing at No Kings protest and the Biden administration. Phil Mickelson's coming out of nowhere, dude. Coming out of nowhere. Trump responds. He was on with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend about the whole Kings thing. DHS, Homeland Security, trolls Gavin Newsom. Today's the decision deadline for the U of A on the White House compact. And then here's the best part. And the best part, I mean by the worst part. So, fire damages Midtown's Ignite Sign Museum, destroying decades of Tucson history. It says, and we have interviewed Jude Cook, the co-owner, on the show in the past. Much of the museum's smaller collection is toast. And remember, the rule in Wake Up Universe is always assume the crackheads did it. So it's always going to be Fenty heads until proven different. So let's go to break and visit some great sponsors. And then I hear Tony with a hammer and nails working on the streaming. So hopefully we'll get that back soon. So you're on Live the Dream Media Network. Remember Marana Oro Valley Experience at 9 o'clock. Nils Grivellius, our favorite private detective, will be on in 41 minutes.
This is Wake Up with Chris DeSimone. only on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Hello, I'm Kari from Southern Arizona Cleaning and Supply. We continue to offer premium commercial cleaning services, and now we have expanded our storefront, moving into Suite 104. Everyone can benefit from our professional cleaning and janitorial supplies at the most competitive prices. Stop by and let us help you select the products to keep your home and business spotless. We are locally owned and operated and have been proud to call Tucson our home for over 3 decades. Southern Arizona Cleaning and Supply, 1801 South Alvernon, Suite 104, or call us at 520-495-4097.
When water damage in Marana strikes unexpectedly, it's important to respond quickly and efficiently. Voda Cleaning and Restoration provides fast, efficient water mitigation and mediation services to protect your home and prevent further damage. We manage every aspect of the restoration process, including water extraction, structural repairs, and mold prevention and remediation. We also offer expert cleaning services to restore your home to a clean and healthy condition. If the water damage is covered by insurance, we'll work directly with your provider to simplify the claims process. Our goal is to make the entire experience as stress-free as possible. Don't wait, act fast to prevent further issues and costly repairs. Ask about our expert floor cleaning services. You will be impressed. Give Clint Bolin a call at 520-891-7235 or schedule an appointment at myvoda.com.
Our story began by listening, face to face with neighbors. Because water and clean air are precious here, we'll replenish what we use and work to keep desert skies clear. Here, mining and ranching continue to coexist, providing jobs and stewardship for the land. Fully permitted, we'll build responsibly and keep listening. Because Hud Bay cares. For our employees, our neighbors, and the desert we call home.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Pics Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing has a spectacular $59 drain special for the month of October. At Pics Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, our highly qualified plumbers will solve your scary plumbing problems and keep the goblins out of your drains. The special is for residential properties only. Call for details at 520-492-0748 or book your appointment online at picsrockscooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and
How do you thank the heroes who serve and protect us every day? Come to the 5th annual Rockin' for Heroes free concert Sunday, November 9th in Oro Valley. Gates open at 1 p.m. Enjoy live classic rock, food trucks, and beverages too. Come celebrate our first responders, active duty military, veterans, and Gold Star families. Admission is free. We'll bring a chair and we'll see you there, November 9th in Oro Valley. You can get more information at rockinforheroes.org. Proudly sponsored by HSL Properties.
When exploring America's best city for Mexican food, start off at one of the best, El Taco Rustico. Chef Juan Almanza is crafting some of the best dishes in Tucson at 2 locations, Grant and Oracle and the new Rustico Dos at Park and Silver Lake. Everything on the menu is a standout, from the shrimp rojitos, costilla beef ribs, to Arizona's best birria. Head over to Rustico Dos for Juan's amazing smoked brisket, pulled pork and ribs, plus all your Mexican favorites. For more, check out tacorustico.com.
Don't wait for a leak to show up before trying to find a roofer during roofing's busiest time of year. Call Blueprint Home Services today to schedule a free inspection. Blueprint Home Services offers free, fast estimates, price lock guarantees, and the longest workmanship warranty in Tucson. Again, that number is 520-525-2555. You can also book an appointment at blueprinthomeservice.com. Blueprint Home Services is licensed, bonded, insured, and trusted. AZROC number 322635.
This is Sammy with SGM, your local outdoor design expert, serving Tucson and surrounding areas since 2019. At SGM, we don't just install turf and pavers, we design your dream yard. With our 3D renderings, you'll see it right on your phone before we break ground. No surprises, just excitement. From artificial turf and paver patios to fire pits and outdoor kitchens, we bring your backyard vision to life. Licensed, bonded, and insured. At SGM, we believe every yard deserves more. More beauty, more function, and yes, more turf. So when you think turf, think more turf. Call SGM today, the More Turf guys. 520-668-2281.
ROC number 340070.
It's more of Wake Up with Chris DeSimone on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're on Live the I'd kind of say, oh, you can do it on the app if you're trying to stream it, but you can't see me anyway. So, that's what I did during commercial is just tell everyone to go on the app for right now. And we have been working on this for the last hour and a half or so. So the video will be up for later on Spotify and stuff like that. Again, it sucks because I got some really good stuff to share with you video-wise live, and you won't be able to see it. So, but we will power through together. So Tony, let's show the picture of Regina Romero and Savannah Guthrie from NBC, please. In front of El Charo, please. So, Savannah Guthrie made a special visit. She was in town to shoot segments for today's upcoming Fan Fest. And it celebrates the show's loyal viewers across the country, including those in Tucson. This has got to be paid. I texted Felipe at Visit Tucson to tell me how much he paid for it. I haven't heard back, so that means they paid for it. Now, remember, Visit Tucson basically extorted $2 million out of a visitor promotion work that Visit Tucson's supposed to be doing for the free crime bus. She literally pulled $2 million out to pay for a bus that will actually spread the misery of the Fenty crime people to hurt people who actually do tourism promotion and generate sales taxes and hotel bed taxes. It's a sick world, dude. I can't make it up. So, some wise ass, me, came up with this picture of her and Savannah Guthrie's lean in there is quite disturbing. Hey, Mayor Romero, what's with all the Fenty heads on every corner? Savannah, just shut up and take the forced propaganda picture. That's exactly what that is. And no way in hell would you want the mayor of Tucson in if you're serious about this is what a bad position Felipe Garcia is at Visit Tucson. Right? He is now at the whim of these people to basically crush what he's doing in tourism promotion. So when you see, and then the thing is that the Visit Tucson board has always been weak. Always. They've always picked people that weren't going to bother them. Okay? But what happened was the people who let this happen is their board. Right? They had to vote in the end to give them $2 million because the city threatened them that if you didn't give them the $2 million now for the crime bus, we're just going to subtract it from your contract the next time around, which I would have said, well, you go do that. But they folded like a cheap suitcase and gave them the money. So their executive committee is the people who let this happen is Steve Earnhardt from iHeartMedia, Guy Alexander from those guys run the El Conquistador, Nancy, who's the president of Reed Park Zoological Society, which basically runs a facility run by the city of Tucson. Hopefully she recused herself from that vote. Hillary from Diamond Transportation, two Hillarys. Hillary, who runs the Children's Museum, who, of course, has a $1 a year rental with the city, so I hope she recused herself from the vote. Then we have Rhonda from Beach Fleischman, Rhonda Fure, and then Austin Wright from the Tucson Airport Authority. Then we have Sean Tilley on their board, who works for the convention center, which basically is a city facility. I mean, I can just kind of keep going here. And then, of course, Andres Cano and then Charlene Mendoza, the mayor's appointees on their board. Oh, boy. So, I know a lot of you saw this and you're like, what the hell? This is all paid. Unless Felipe comes back to me and says, oh, no, this is all natural. This is all paid and staged crap, is what we're talking about here. So now, what was the other thing I had here? So we're going to tie this together with no kings. Who knew I was going to do that today? So I'm going to have Tony, I sent you a Facebook link video at 4:45. It says wise words from Mayor Romero. Can we play that, please? So a few of you sent me this. This is her yelling at the no kings wearing a Visit Tucson shirt. And we'll talk about how if you're Visit Tucson, you don't want to get into politics because you automatically understand which way you lean. Now, if you want to say we're only going to have, we want a majority of Democrats coming to our unbelievably enlightened community, we can do that. I was going to ask a crazy question, Tony. Can you actually play a video from a link? Yeah. Okay. Let's do it, buddy. So this is her at the No Kings wearing her Visit Tucson shirt that you can get at the Visit Tucson merch store in the gift shop. And I'll have to, if you can't hear it clearly, because it's not the greatest recording, I'll help out a little bit. So
to fight tyranny is to not obey in advance. We will not comply. We will not obey.
So there she is.
And right now, to fight tyranny is to not obey in advance.
So she said, we will, because of the Kings thing, right? Which is, again, I don't know who in the Democrat Party is polling this Kings thing, but I think it's just to, it's something for your base, right? The people who are in the middle that you think are going to, that truly swing elections, they want to know what you're smoking, right? So here's Regina Romero with her Visit Tucson shirt at a obviously overly emotional horse crap no kings protest, but she wants you to say that if you're in the middle of something that if you're in a situation, because of course they don't like who's in control of the government right now after they F the place up for 4 years, right? She told you, don't obey. Here is a lady who's supposed to be, according to her oath, maybe they've changed the oath, about upholding laws and the Constitution of the United States. She has literally told you that you're not supposed to obey. She literally has told her town that you don't have to obey anymore. That's what we've learned today. So here she is. She hijacked Visit Tucson. She forced herself into a situation because now she controls their budget more than ever. I mean, this is how bad. Tucson's been a tough place to sell for the last so many years because of the crime, the drugs, and a variety of other things, right? At the same time, she has dragged Visit Tucson and using their resources for politics. And she's controlling their message. So when you come in and you have you're paying for Savannah Guthrie to come on. What happens is that I guess the thing that's in their favor is the average Today Show listener is totally oblivious to reality. So they wouldn't know that when she's on with Savannah Guthrie, she's literally lying her face off what a wonderful town we got. Oh, this reminded me. Eating in this town is unbelievably expensive. I spent 4 days in Wednesday through yesterday morning in Utah. Cheaper. every restaurant is cheaper than this place. I was in shock at the All-American Diner. I got a mushroom and Swiss burger with bacon. Mrs. D got she just wanted like a side of French fries. And we got like she had a drink and I was out for under $20. I was in shock. I'm like, are you sure? I said, like, are you sure? Did you not charge me for the hamburger? She's like, no, honey, that's all there. Whatever is going on in this, what's so amazing about this town, in addition to all the other inflationary forces going on the planet, right? This place is unbelievably expensive in the city for a poor as hell community. I mean, we're still one out of every 5 city of Tucson residents is living under the poverty level. Right? Household income of 40-ish. In retrospective, Marana Oro Valley and the foothills is somewhere between 90 and 120,000 total household income. I was all right. I paid for the boys when we went after we got our suits, our tuxes. So it was. Let's see. There was 5 of us, right? 6 of us. 6 of us. We had probably 10 to 12 beers. We had, let's see, wings. We had crispy pork belly bites, pretzels, which we had the appetizer thing, and 2 flatbread pizzas. So 10 to 12 beers, at least 6 to 7 appetizers. Before tip, $155. I could never do that in Tucson. Never. So how does that work? I'm in a community that's like, 50,000 people, clean as up. They got cops all over the place, right? And this place is a hellhole, and everything's more expensive. Supermarket's cheaper. So this Harmon, look it up, Harmon's in St. George. It's a bigger, better AJ's. Food's better, options are better, it's bigger, cleaner, not as cluttered. So we were having like a little opening night, come over and have a little bite to eat on Wednesday at our Airbnb that we had. And so they had this amazing looking fried chicken. It didn't look like that crap at Fry's. It was like the breasts were huge. I mean, it was baller fried chicken. And I'm like, well, let's get some fried chicken. That'll be easy. No one wanted to cook. We just wanted a little, we'll have a beer on the patio and a bite to eat. And I'm like, oh, let's get the 16-piece, $22. I'm like, what? What the hell are we talking about? So there's something broken in this community. And then I thought about it, right? I guess, I've heard the fact that we have less options for food suppliers, so there's not as much competition. But I mean, St. George is in the middle of nowhere. It's an hour and 45 from Vegas, right? 2 hours from Vegas. Salt Lake's even further. So it's not like they're really a suburb of a bigger community. But that was another thing that really hit me when I was in Utah with what the hell is going on. So, let's see what we got here. This is my new live chat as my phone. We're not doing multiple live jokes, Umpire John. So, let's see. Yeah, it was. Everything's too expensive in this town, man. It's just wild. It's again what I always tell people who are Kool-Aid drinkers in the city of Tucson is go someplace else. Go pick an area to go to, another town that's not Tucson, and spend 3 days in it. You would never, you could just go to Marana or Oro Valley for a weekend. But just go to Phoenix. Go to Phoenix. You want to go to El Paso. Border town. They're right on the border. They're a real border town, right? Juarez on the other side of the border is a train wreck. Okay? Their downtown kicks the hell out of our downtown. Just you got to get out of your bubble. So there's your spiritual ideological bubble, and then there's your physical bubble. Just go to another town. And you'll see it doesn't have to be like this. Other towns in America get it. Even run by Democrats. Right? Yes, there are other towns that are run by Democrats that are, some of them are total crap holes. Right? Chicago, LA, I can just Portland, Seattle. I can keep going. But there are like the city of Phoenix. Yes, they have a little bit of a crackhead area off of downtown. But overall, those guys, remember, city of Phoenix run by Kate Marquez, Regina's buddy, maybe not anymore, right? This is Kate Gallego, excuse me. Kate Gallego, former Mrs. Camel Rider, right? And they're overpaying their cops. So not only, the Democrat thing doesn't help right now because the Democrat Party has become overly leftist and the traditional Democrats been left in the dirt. But Tucson this is what we're blessed with. And by blessed, I mean cursed with. It's the worst collection of Democrats that could hold office is in this region right now. You can't pick the worst. Again, when we started the show, I thought we were really bad with Grijalva, Ekstrom, who are the godfathers of this, right? Grijalva, Ekstrom, right? But then Richard Elias, Sharon Bronson, Ramon Valadez, right? And you're kind of sitting there going, man, those guys are a train wreck. Then we got to the new class of jokers. And this is the worst. I would have said in the old days I might have had a couple of issues with Barbara LaWall as county attorney. Now I miss Babs like you would never believe compared to this joker. Talk to veteran police officers that are in the commander position or higher. They'll tell you at least Babs prosecuted felonies. Right? I mean, why is that a hard thing? But think about it. You can't get a worse collection of characters. So let's say if you just had a regular business, who would you hire? Let's say you were Target and you were hiring people. Who would you hire out of the elected officials? Would you hire Regina Romero? No. Cunningham? No. Nikki Lee? Yes. At least she has a brain on her shoulders, even though she has zero spine. Santa Cruz, train wreck. Kevin Dahl's a train wreck. I mean, and Rocky Perez, OnlyFans superstar. I mean, look at these people. Look at that team. That's not A team. That ain't B team. That's C team. That is C team. Board of Soups. Jen Allen, C team. Andres Canos, C team. Rex tries, but he's still C team. Right? C team, C team, C team. What are we doing? Right? Conover, C team. Cazares Kelly, C team. These are not. I can have people that I disagree with that I think are formidable. Right? They're capable at their jobs. And we can still disagree. Where's that at in the local elected officials? That's what we're talking about, man. It's not just the fact. And they always like to say, "Oh, it's an R." He's just a conservative shock jock. Can I have formidable people in their positions of elected officials? That's all I'm asking. Why is this hard? Right. Tony, you don't have to put it up. I'll just read it. I got this from a friend of ours who works in the city manager world of City of Tucson. So this is in response to Rahina having and it made the Arizona Republic over the last few days because one of my buddies I saw at the wedding was talking about it. Romero is now blaming the county and the state for not helping with the crime problem. We need help from the county and the state. And she had a bullcrap roundtable with, the reporters. But this is from my buddy in the city manager's office. I was under impression that crime was down and safety was fine, ... until the stabbing of an Hispanic bicycle rider on the Chuck Huckleberry Loop. Give me a ding. Are the sound effects working today? Thank you. So we got the ding going on. And so this is someone who works in the city manager's office. I was under the impression that crime was down and safety was fine until the stabbing of a Hispanic bicycle rider on the Chuck Huckleberry Loop. That's kind of where we're at, man. It's gonna get. I mean, think about this. The what do you call that thing? The burning down of the Ignite Neon Sign Museum. I mean, we'll see. I'll read this next one. I sent it to you. It's Sergio's letter, but I'm going to read this. Sergio, our friend Sergio comes on the show. Ted Maxwell's RTA debate partner. Sergio, every so many weeks, I feel like it's cathartic, right? He gets the old pen out. I feel like I can just see him up at his house, right? And he's got his quill and his ink jar out, and he starts writing these letters to the editor. This is the ones he sends this to the Dead Star, and this had to do about Romero and homelessness. Recently, Mayor Romero sent out a letter describing the issues of homelessness. The mayor's correct on her assumption that there are services that are being offered to the homeless in this community. However, I believe we've entered a new phase. The low-lying fruit of people who can be easily helped, meaning willing to accept treatment, people who will live in squalor to continue their habits. These people cause crime and unsafe environments in our park, washes, and transit system. At this point, here's the key phrase. At this point, we need to stop listening to the groups like Mutual Aid Tucson. They're in over their heads with this population of homelessness. It's time for a tougher stance. Punitive measures are now needed for this population of homeless. If anything, the mutual aid people of Tucson are enabling this people. It's time we stop letting them. Now, he's right. So what happens is the mutual aid people are getting government money to try to fix this, right? And they are in over their heads. There probably is a profit motive. I know nonprofits shouldn't have a nonprofit, but there's a profit motive to keep people paid in relation to just do enough to look like you're doing it, right? Our Mel Brooks as the mayor in the Blazing Saddles, work. But this is the other key phrase. Punitive measures are now needed for this population of homelessness. So I want to build on this a little bit. And this is something that's Tucson-wide or any other community dealing with the homeless Fenty population like we are in the city of Tucson is, that they go around and they assign different levels of camp. Right? Is this camp a nice camp? Is it a friendly drug camp, or is it a nuisance drug camp? So they have these tier levels of the drug camping, right? What we need to do is have tier levels of homeless with really honest descriptions of who's who, right? So the lowest would be you refuse any sort of help, you are committing crimes, and you're committing crimes, and at the same time, you are either camping on public land or that kind of thing. And it's that Gates, that Portland case, that was determined already. They're not allowed to do that. They cannot camp in a public space. So you got to arrest them. You have to arrest them. That's where you're at. In the old days, we used to get I remember a friend of mine worked for Scottsdale Visitors Bureau, and they were telling me how they used to handle their drug homeless guys. Was the cops would take a picture of the homeless guy who was being a nuisance and say, if one of us sees you again, you're not going to like what happens. And he says, okay. And what would happen is if they were found again doing something, they'd tase them. I'm not approving of this behavior. This is what he told me. And they would drive him down and drop him in the back of a Walmart shopping center in Mesa. Okay, just head down the 101 and drop him off in Mesa. Maybe I can just see TPD. They're going to start picking up the homeless guys and then drive them to like Marana, Oro Valley, or Sahuarita, and then they get arrested with multiple misdemeanors, so it doesn't have to go to Conover or any of the Tucson city courts. Where they're going to take them to other places just so they can get arrested and finally possibly get some sort of punitive measures. So it's a bizarre world. All right, when we come back, I'll do some holidays, and then we will have Nils Grivellius on, our private investigator from Los Angeles, who's quite a character. So you're on Live the Dream Media Network, and hang in there. We're working on all the streaming gremlins. So hang in there, listen on the app, and we'll see you in just a few.
This is Wake Up with Chris DeSimone, only on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Calling all families, the Marana Pumpkin Patch is your ticket to fall fun for everyone. We've got jumping pillows, a diesel train, farm animals, and our famous corn maze. Plus, explore our massive 70-acre pumpkin patch from Post Farms. Marana Pumpkin Patch, where families make unforgettable fall memories. Tickets available at maranapumpkinpatch.com.
Looking for the best outdoor patio in Tucson? Look no further than St. Philip's Plaza at the southeast corner of River and Campbell, where you can sip on Tucson's finest collection of whiskey at Union Public House, brunch 7 days a week at Reforma Modern Mexican Mezcal and Tequila, and experience our newest restaurant, Proof, proudly serving house-made pasta and artisanal pizza. Enjoy live music and dine under the stars with Union, Reforma, and Proof. Join us at St. Philip's Plaza.
Don't wait for a leak to show up before trying to find a roofer during roofing's busiest time of year. Call Blueprint Home Services today to schedule a free inspection. Blueprint Home Services offers free, fast estimates, price lock guarantees, and the longest workmanship warranty in Tucson. Again, that number is 520-525-2555. You can also book an appointment at blueprinthomeservice.com. Blueprint Home Services is licensed, bonded, insured, and trusted. AZROC number 322635.
Hi, this is Sean McCluskey, co-owner and designated broker for Rincon Ventures. If you're a rental owner by choice or by accident and you're looking to hire or change property management companies, consider Rincon Ventures. We employ an aggressive web-based advertising strategy to market your rental. We thoroughly screen prospective tenants and conduct routine property inspections. Our online system gives tenants the ability to pay rent and file maintenance requests instantly over the web. Our owners can use the same system to instantly check on their properties. Call Rincon Ventures at 881-2258 or visit us on the web at rvprop.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Pic Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing has a spectacular $59 drain special for the month of October. At Pic Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, our highly qualified plumbers will solve your scary plumbing problems and keep the goblins out of your drains. This special is for residential properties only. Call for details at 520-492-0748 or book your appointment online at picturerockscooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing.
Hi, it's Bill Ding here, first caller.
Hey, Bill. I love doing DIY projects. Is Gerson's only for professionals?
No way. Gerson's has tons to offer for the do-it-yourselfer. Come check out our furniture and old doors. Perfect for projects.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Next caller.
Help, Bill. We're remodeling our home and the big box stores are just too expensive. What can we find at Gerson's?
At Gerson's, you'll find cabinets, ceiling fans, tons of sinks, and ceramic tile, and 5-gallon buckets of paint in a multitude of colors. Online at gersonsbuildingmaterials.com or 4726 South Country Club, just north of Irvington.
How do you thank the heroes who serve and protect us every day? Come to the 5th annual Rockin' for Heroes free concert Sunday, November 9th in Oro Valley. Gates open at 1 p.m. Enjoy live classic rock, food trucks, and beverages too. Come celebrate our first responders, active duty military, veterans, and Gold Star families. Admission is free. We'll bring a chair and we'll see you there November 9th in Oro Valley. You can get more information at rockinforheroes.org. Proudly sponsored by HSL Properties.
Your favorite radio just got bigger, bolder, and better connected. Live the Dream Media is revolutionizing how you stay tuned in. With our explosive growth in online radio and our brand new mobile app, your entertainment goes wherever you do. Stream your favorite shows, discover new hits, and connect with audiences across the digital landscape, all at your fingertips. Advertisers don't miss out. Join our expanding digital network and reach engaged listeners across platforms. Download the Live the Dream Media app today and experience radio reimagined.
Arizona was built on big dreams and the people who made them a reality. From the Central Arizona Project to the highways that connect our communities, progress has been powered by hard work and vision. Today, Hud Bay's Copper World Project is investing in that same spirit, creating hundreds of jobs, partnering with skilled labor, and creating tremendous economic impact. Because copper builds more than infrastructure. It builds opportunities for Arizona families.
Hello, I'm Kari from Southern Arizona Cleaning and Supply. We continue to offer premium commercial cleaning services, and now we have expanded our storefront, moving into Suite 104. Everyone can benefit from our professional cleaning and janitorial supplies at the most competitive prices. Stop by and let us help you select the products to keep your home and business spotless. We are locally owned and operated and have been proud to call Tucson our home for over 3 decades. Southern Arizona Cleaning and Supply, 1801 South Alvernon, Suite 104, or call us at 520-495-4097.
It's more of Wake Up with Chris DeSimone on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, back to the show.
All right. Wake Up with Chris DeSimone on a beautiful weekend celebrating a friend's wedding in St. George, Utah. And one of our new favorite guests in the last few months, who you think I'm not shy. This guy's definitely not shy. And very entertaining guy, very serious. I like him a lot. And it's our good friends Nils Grivellius on the line from the once great city of Los Angeles, California. Nils, good morning, my friend.
Well, hello, Mr. DeSimone. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
I don't think I've ever enjoyed a nicer day.
Well, beautiful. Are you a Dodgers fan? Do you care about baseball? Is this a thing for you?
I like the Dodgers. I like baseball generally. I will tell you that I gave up on the NFL a long time ago. And, you know, the Dodgers occasionally will do something woke stupid, but they're mostly tolerable.
Well, of course,
baseball
they did drag queen night or day, or they love to do their drag. They had their anti-Catholic drag queens on the last couple of years, but that didn't happen this year.
I think they got the message. There was a big backlash from the Latino community about that specifically, but generally from normal people. Normal people didn't seem to appreciate it, and I think the team got the message. You have to remember that the team is partly owned by Magic Johnson, who has a soft spot in his head for anything like that. I think he has a son who might be a drag queen, but he's entitled to. I mean, if the man wants to wear a skirt, let him wear a skirt. Just he should ensure that the hemline is low enough that his leathery sack doesn't dangle down around his ankles.
Who knew I was going to hear that word played today from Nils? So Tucson, Arizona is one of the, I don't know if it's nationally known or not, but it should be, is one of the flashpoints for the fentanyl crisis. We are overrun by Fenty heads, and we have a free busings hop on, hop off transit system that, like the Mamdani guy wants to do in New York, that has spread crime and misery throughout the entire region. And when it's hot in the summer, they use it for rolling drug hovels. So I know one of the things we're going to talk about today is we're seeing a fentanyl-linked overdose deaths in seniors is at this unbelievably insane level of misery. Tell us about that, Nils.
Well, some of it is just seniors who have managed to survive narcotics addiction into old age, which is a miracle in and of itself, who are now being introduced to fentanyl when they knew how to measure the dose for heroin. Well, when you're dosing yourself with fetty, you have a problem in that having a good time and dying of a fatal overdose is measured in micromilligrams.
Right.
And most of us aren't set up with the laboratory equipment if we're going to enjoy a proper day of fentanyl on the street to survive it. And that's a part of it. I'll tell you what another part is, and this is the quiet part they're not going to even whisper about. There are a lot of oldsters in palliative care and hospice care who are prescribed fentanyl that is administered in patches, and some of them have caregivers who are drug users. And so what occurs is the drug user swaps out the fentanyl patch, which can be safely quote unquote enjoyed by the addict, for street dope for the elder, so the elder's not hollering in pain while they're dying, and they have an accidental overdose or maybe a purposeful overdose. I've heard of at least 3 cases in the last 6 months in Los Angeles County of a caregiver accidentally overdosing someone in their care with street dope who was prescribed legitimate pharmaceutical fentanyl.
So why are they using the street dope? Because they're using the patch and they're giving the street dope to the patient?
Right, because the patch is safer for them. They'll even do a thing where they'll take a piece of sandpaper, the addict will, and scrape their own arm to make it so that the fetty hits them faster from the patch. And they'll go through the garbage and find old patches and reuse them for whatever tiny dose is still left in them. But that's the life of a drug addict. Junkies have always been like this, Mr. DeSimone. Before fentanyl, they would go through their old cotton tailings that they would find and recook them, and just enough to stave off the Jones, so that they could go steal something or prostitute themselves, to score more H. It's a life of desperation, man.
So we're talking about, according to this report, lead researcher from University of Nevada, Reno. This was represented at the American Society of Anesthesiologists meeting in San Antone. They're talking about a 9,000% increase in the deaths of fentanyl-linked overdoses for senior citizens. That is unbelievably wild and disgusting.
Well, that is pretty interesting. I bet they have a statistic they won't share with the public as to how many anesthesiologists die every year of overdose, because a percentage of anesthesiologists and nurse anesthetists, like Dirty John, are drug addicts.
Who's Dirty?
They're attracted. You remember Dirty John,
I'm
don't
not
you?
familiar with Dirty John, believe it or not.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
No.
It was the first successful true crime podcast, and it's about a nurse anesthetist who was a drug addict and a serial abuser of women who died in a fight with his last victim's daughter. She stabbed him in the eye, and it went all the way to the back of his cranium in a parking garage in Newport Beach, maybe 6-7 years ago. They made a nice Bravo movie about it with Eric Bana playing Dirty John. I had 3 cases involving the real Dirty John. He was a character named John Meehan. He did prison time for stealing dope as a nurse anesthetist.
Wow. I'm looking at it right now. It's on Netflix right now. Connie Britton, Amanda Peet, Christian Slater, and Eric Bana, Dirty John. Wow.
You would enjoy it. Unlike most Netflix content, that is worth seeing.
Who knew? I'm going to watch Dirty John now. So when we talk about you're talking about addicts that are working with these seniors in assisted living facilities and things like this, right? Is it the idea that one, it's hard to find people to work in those kind of facilities in the first place, and I guess they pass their initial drug test, but then maybe there's not follow-up drug tests? How do we tighten that up from an administrative side? Because we have so many of us have loved ones that are living in these places right now. Well, how would that work out, Nils?
Well, much of this occurs in the home where they have shifted the burden of palliative and hospice care to family members. That's part of it, and then the family will go out and look for someone, and they'll ask their housekeeper or their gardener or somebody like, well, we need somebody to care for Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank exposes himself regularly and can't be exposed, allowed to go out on the town. He's dying. Do you have someone who can care for him? We'll pay them $20 an hour. That's often how it happens. The healthcare system is supposed to screen every healthcare worker, but a lot of them just filter their way through. We get people who are here as illegal aliens who have some experience in healthcare work from other countries, who may have a criminal record where they come from, but if we live scan them, we're not going to know about their criminal record in Nigeria or the Philippines or Guatemala or that kind of thing. It doesn't work that way. And then when somebody's an illegal alien, do you actually know who they actually are? I mean, the first step in any adequate background investigation is identifying who the person is.
Right.
If I tell you my name is Bill Smith and that I'm actually from Montreal, Canada, you can't gainsay and say, well, you're not Bill Smith, without actually knowing, without access to Canadian records, that sort of thing.
Well, in the last 30 days, we've had an illegal alien found out to be a superintendent of the Des Moines, Iowa school district. And we just had another one who was a police officer. I forgot what town he was in over the weekend, but
that was in Illinois, the police officer. And in both cases, their employers knew that they were illegal aliens. In Illinois, they would not allow that officer to carry a gun off duty. He could only carry a gun on duty. And then in Des Moines, it was Lady Husseino, Michelle Obama's former chief of staff.
That's right.
Was the head of the school board. She knew, Jackie Norris knew. My son went to 4 years of school in Des Moines.
Okay.
She knew that this man was an illegal alien, and they concealed their hiring process from the general public, and it was an act of government virtue signaling to hire an illegal alien because he was such an attractive, diverse member, which is super important to the white liberal females running these government bodies, whether it's the Municipal Water Board or the Dog Catching Alliance or something like that. It's super important that it be quote unquote diverse. So they'll go out of their way to hire someone just based on immutable things like skin color, or things like that. Their status doesn't matter. It's more important to check a box. And so they weren't surprised in the least. And there's a requirement in the Iowa schools that every applicant be live scanned. They didn't live scan him. They hired some flack in my business to do a cursory, superficial investigation without actually investigating him, so that they had backup. They had plausible deniability when he was caught with a gun on school grounds, and it's illegal for anybody other than a police officer to have a gun on school grounds. But he's the exception to the rule because he's super diverse.
He also had other, red flags and what he put in his resume, his LinkedIn. He had a whole poorly crafted fake history, this guy. So when you say live scan, give me the definition of what a true live scan investigation is.
Okay, so live scan is the technology they use. You set your hand down on a computer, it scans your fingerprints, and it goes automatically to NCIC, which is maintained by the FBI, and it compares your fingerprints to those of hundreds of millions of other people who've been fingerprinted as criminals, as military members, for a professional license, like you're a dentist, a podiatrist, a private detective, let's say, to properly identify you and try to suss out any criminal record. It used to be that this was done by hand, that your fingerprint card would be mailed to the Bureau. They would classify each fingerprint and it would go into an analog computer that was actually cardstock with holes around the edges where they'd use straight pieces of wire. I'm talking all the way back in the 1930s. They had an analog computer to bias out each individual characteristic, and it'd take 3 or 4 weeks for them to search through all of their card files. But even then, using that analog computer, if you had fingerprints on file, they could identify you.
So
they didn't bother. I mean, after all the millions of people fingerprinted, the decades of technological improvement, they sidestepped it by violating their own laws. And
Yeah.
I promise you, Jackie Norris is never going to be prosecuted for that. Well, she did pay one price, which is she was going to run for U.S. Senate to
Yeah.
replace Joni Ernst as a Democrat instead. And people in Iowa have already sent her a message saying they won't vote for her.
Yep.
Super amazing, kind of weird.
So tell me about so Virginia Giuffre, who is the Epstein Island female victim, has come out with a book. She just mentioned that she was tortured and raped by a well-known British prime minister in the book. It just kind of brings up the fact is there ever going to be justice for any of these young women that made a trip to Epstein Island?
Eventually, Mr. DeSimone, somebody confirmed a couple of weeks ago that it was, in fact, an intelligence operation. They didn't say whose intelligence operation Epstein Island was. We can be sure that the CIA was involved. We can also be sure that they tried to shut it down and alter the operation once Prince Andrew blundered into it. You can see that Prince Andrew has been stripped of all official duties,
right?
Probably because of this, or maybe some other transgression. Who knows? I once knew Prince Andrew. He destroyed the cameras of several reporters in Los Angeles in the 80s, sprayed paint all over them at a building development to be cute, that kind of thing. But yes, eventually more truth will come out about that, and the victims of this will get some justice. I want your listeners to know something, though. Often people talk about something called closure. In my experience as a detective, Mr. DeSimone, there is no closure. That's up to me. If I decide when to put something to bed, when to foreclose something, that kind of thing. And it's incredibly elusive. It's almost one of those things that they'll promise you in a criminal case, that sort of thing. But there is no closure. If your child has been murdered, if your mother has been kidnapped and you never see her again, there's never closure.
How do you rate the handling of the Epstein, the quote Epstein files by White House, DOJ, and now we have this congressional committee that's releasing it? Are they being a little too kind of releasing stuff that doesn't matter to make everyone feel better? How would you describe the handling of this by the Trump administration and this congressional committee, sir?
It's a little too opaque for my tastes, but having worked in intelligence, I understand the need to protect methods and sources.
Right.
I'm not sympathetic to that need in this particular case because they really transgressed here.
Yeah.
They used underage girls as bait in a honey trap human operation, is how it looks to me. I don't have any confirmation from anybody in the IC on that, but that's how it looks. And I'll point something out. The best way to tell that the Israelis are not involved is that it failed for the most part. When the Israelis are involved, it never fails. And if there is failure, people actually get killed in the field or something like that. In this particular case, Jeffrey Epstein may just have been the guy facilitating it, with Ghislaine Maxwell being the case officer. If
Right.
you look at her father's profile, he looks like MI6. You know, he was a Checo who fled to England in the 30s, was in the British military. He had kind of a dicey history himself. So he looks like an MI6 operative or a Bond villain or something like that. And then he commits suicide, maybe. But you have to remember the old head of the CIA committed suicide and made it look like a hunting accident or something as well. Talking about Bill Colby. Um, so also we can know that Diddy was not an intelligence operation. They didn't hesitate to prosecute him and make a big show of that. And we know most of the people involved. And somebody's holding a Diddy party right now somewhere. Miami, Las Vegas, Beverly Hills, something. So one is going on right now, I promise.
So too sloppy for a Mossad operation, and so is it just basically anti-Israel sentiment on why anyone would say this is a Mossad operation? Is that where this comes from?
People, when people see something like this, they want to think that it's Mossad. Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was Jewish, so they will infer that. But when you see a Mossad operation, typically they go off pretty well. Like everybody getting a pager in Hezbollah, and all of them blowing up simultaneously. That's a Mossad operation.
Correct.
You know, if Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew all got a pager that blew up simultaneously, you would know that it was a Mossad operation by default, right? So, and then the Mossad would say something like, they'd want to take credit for it without taking credit. And the way that they do that is, it's almost like a gang murder in Baltimore. They'll talk about it in abstract terms. We are the best, but we had nothing to do with it. You know, that kind of thing.
We admire the execution of the operation, but it wasn't.
But we don't know anything about it.
So if you're going to take a guess on Epstein operations, okay, who was the head of the CIA when all this was going down? I'm trying to remember.
Probably George Tenet.
Okay.
But George Tenet was a figurehead. He wasn't a classic spook or anything like that. So he was what we call an espiocrat. Bureaucrat in espionage. So it was probably somebody deep in Directorate of Operations, authorized, a honey trap, probably a joint operation jointly owned by them and MI6. And Bill Clinton and Donald Trump and people like that were not the object. The object was almost certainly the people that they would attract. Wealthy, powerful men who are connected that you and I don't know the names of, or people involved in aerospace in third-party countries, or people involved in, let's say, petroleum, maybe.
Right.
Maybe people who, that kind of thing. And the bait is the glamour associated with politically powerful people being there, and of course, very attractive young women who are sexually available to compromised men and women. Yeah, you have to remember there are several accusations that Ghislaine Maxwell sexually abused some of these women herself.
So so Ghislaine, she made an appeal to the Supreme Court in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Is that what happened? What was she looking for?
Well, I think she's looking to mitigate her situation. She wants to stay in this country, but stay a free woman. You'll notice that she was on the loose in this country for several weeks. Knowing that she was going to be arrested, she holds tripartite citizenship in the EU, France, England, the US, whatever. She could have gone to any of those places. Remember, France hid Roman Polanski from us, put him out of reach. And they did the same with a murderer named Ira Einhorn, one of the creators of Earth Day, murdered his girlfriend and stuffed her in a steamer trunk. So she could have gone to France, and I'll point out that she did not. She chose not to. And I think the reason she did not go to France is because she probably might have wound up in a situation similar to that of Jeffy Jeff if she had gone there. She does not want to be processed by someone who might figure out the goals, the aims, who was compromised in the operation, things like that. But the fact that they're still slow walking all of this out of the IC tells me that they're still deriving intelligence material or still have operations ongoing from what was derivative of it.
Right.
That is why they're being so slow. And I'll point one more thing out. Jim Dennehy, the special agent in charge in Southern District of Manhattan, had all of the files. And back in February, remember that goat and pony show where Pam Bondi said she was getting all of the files and was going to reveal everything that that Jim Dennehy pulled the rug out from under her and concealed all of it. She ordered him on national television to give and on Twitter to give everything up. And the next day he resigned. He didn't resign his station. He resigned from the FBI the next day. Now, when you look at Dennehy's profile, he was a Marine infantry officer, and then he went to FBI, and he was never a criminal investigator. He never dealt in narcotics investigations, banking investigations, exploitation of minors investigations, human trafficking. Dennehy was a counterintelligence man, Mr. DeSimone.
Interesting. One of the listeners on the app sent me a message. They wanted to please ask Nils when she hears Tom Homan on various interviews talking about not just criminals from from these different countries that are here illegally. He does mention at times terrorists and bad actors that want to do bad, not just typical criminal activity, right? But other maybe bigger things. So she wants to please ask Nils about the presence of such bad characters in America right now.
Well, you're pretty close to the San Pedro River Valley, am I correct?
One of our listeners, Dr. Neil, lives on the San Pedro River. He's listening right now, Nils.
Well, was that not that an ingress for all sorts of characters and not just the kind of guy who's going to work in the fields and work at a car wash and, that sort of thing, make a better life for himself? Didn't we wind up importing a lot of people, bad people from various places? Was not one of the October 7 perpetrators arrested just last week in one of our American states? Yes, so we brought in a lot of interesting people, and we have a process in this country for pretending that Islamic terrorists are not terrorists.
Right.
Imagine the hue and cry, Mr. DeSimone, if Donald Trump decided that the U.S. Army should put all of the filth in Guantanamo up on trial for their lives by the U.S. Army, have the Army try them like we did with Nazis in World War II and hang them. Can you imagine the squalling, the hollering from all of the usual suspects?
Well, look, they had U.S. congressmen go jump on the grenade for that Kilmar Garcia guy in Baltimore. Right.
Well, that was a very romantic conjugal visit. I don't want you to gainsay his sex life here, Mr. DeSimone. Think of all the leftists in our government who would be happy to go to Guantanamo for a nice visit with the guys like the sheikh in Guantanamo. They would happily sit down and not just have a margarita with him, but they'd probably strip down and do something pretty filthy with the man. They get them excited.
Yikes. So in relation to foreign operatives, I think what she wants to I don't know if sleeper agent sounds like something out of a movie, but but it's real. What's the presence of those kind of characters in America right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if Tom Homan says they're hunting for them, you can bet your last dollar that Tom Homan's people are hunting for them.
Yeah.
You have to know who they are first. How many people got in without being identified? I mean, some got in. The ones who are unafraid of our criminal justice process came in at Eagle Pass and various places and got themselves fingerprinted and got a free Husseino phone and an EBT card and maybe a pass to Disneyland and discharged into the greater United States. Well, how many got in who weren't identified when they got in?
Right.
Thousands, maybe a million people, who knows? And we don't have a proper handle on every single one of them who is here. So the idea of a sleeper cell functioning in the United States is not an outrageous or crazy thought. We have had communist sleeper cells and Islamic sleeper cells and not so sleeper, some of them, operating in this country before. Look at the atomic spies in the 1940s, the Rosenberg spy ring.
Yep.
Every single one of them had, were U.S. citizens. Some of them worked in the United States government, United States military. Alger Hiss was a highly high person in the OSS, the State Department, whatever. He wrote much of the United Nations Charter. He was an operative of the Soviet Union and interacting with the case officer who was controlling the Rosenberg spy ring, Colonel Rudolph Abel. I can't remember the man's real name.
Right.
So we've had this in the past. And why is it that our national security apparatus operates in reverse and becomes less effective as the decades go on, Mr. DeSimone?
Well,
After the 19...
That's just will, right?
It's willful. You're absolutely correct. You remember in 93, we had a World Trade Center attack that killed 9 people. They blew up a Ryder truck in the parking garage. And Bill Clinton treated it as if it was a criminal justice problem rather than a security threat. He gave them, we paid for their communist lawyers to defend them,
Last question, and then we'll let you get on with your day, from one of the listeners. They want to know about, now that there's, quote, a first phase of a peace deal with Israel right now and the Hamas people. What does it look like because now the hard part, right? Because now they're murdering more people in Gaza over the weekend. How does this, in Nils' mind, how do you properly execute this phase and successive phases, or can it be done?
Well, what you have to do is develop the situation. Anytime you have ambiguity, when things are unclear, you go plunging forward to see if Hamas can live by the accord, and apparently they cannot. They killed a couple of Israeli soldiers yesterday. So you force the issue, force their hand. If they're not willing to abide by the agreement, the Israeli government, whether it's under Mr. Netanyahu or another Israeli who might succeed him, will have the duty, the task of having to deal with Hamas. We'll know soon enough. It's not as if there will be some beautiful, peaceful lull and then something occurs. There will be constant violence, and that is because Hamas is all about a one-state solution.
Right. Correct. And so how do you if you were going to write a game plan out for the Israelis, not that they need it, to eliminate Hamas out of this situation, how do you do it? If you were going to, I know you got to let them loose to go do such things, but what does that look like?
Well, any time that you can legitimately bag one, you bag one. And then with their foreign operatives and the people that they like to muck around with from countries like Iran, you disappear them. You just, they evaporate somewhere.
Right.
Maybe Louis Farrakhan's mothership comes down and claims them, and we never see them again. The same thing with the Iranian government. When they go to some country like Argentina or London or something like that, maybe they go away, and all their stuff is still in the hotel room. Their rental car is parked at the curb, and you just never see them again. Ambiguity focuses all sorts of fear for people. The rarest human emotional quality there is, Mr. DeSimone, is the ability to deal with ambiguity under stress. Most people can't do it.
Nils, you are always a fascinating human being to talk to, and I always appreciate our conversation. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. Have a lovely day, Mr. DeSimone.
You have a good week, Mr. Grivellius. Take care. All right, we're going to visit some great sponsors. Nils is unafraid to talk about anything, so that's one of the things we like about Nils. So you're on the Live the Dream Media Network. Brother Joe on in about 30 minutes, and a lot more to get to. I want to get to Bill Maher talking about the genocide of Christians and a few other things before this is over. So you're on the Live the Dream Media Network.
This is Wake Up with Chris DeSimone, only on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, a word from our sponsors.
This is Sammy with SGM, your local outdoor design expert, serving Tucson and surrounding areas since 2019. At SGM, we don't just install turf and pavers, we design your dream yard. With our 3D renderings, you'll see it right on your phone before we break ground. No surprises, just excitement. From artificial turf and paver patios to fire pits and outdoor kitchens, we bring your backyard vision to life. Licensed, bonded, and insured. At SGM, we believe every yard deserves more. More beauty, more function, and yes, more turf. So when you think turf, think more turf. Call SGM today, the More Turf guys. 520-668-2281.
ROC number 340070.
Welcome to Giuseppe's Ristorante Italiano, Tucson's go-to spot for fresh homemade Italian food. From cozy dinners with friends to laid-back family nights, we've got it all. Everything's made daily with top-quality ingredients, and our 2 locations make it easy to drop in or pick up. Whether you're into comfort classics or something bold, you'll feel right at home here, just like you're part of the family. 2 locations, Oracle in Rudisill and 22nd in Harrison. Preview the menu at giuseppesristorante.com. When exploring America's best city for Mexican food, start off at one of the best, El Taco Rustico. Chef Juan Almanza is crafting some of the best dishes in Tucson at 2 locations, Grant and Oracle, and the new Rustico Dos at Park and Silver Lake. Everything on the menu is a standout, from the shrimp rojitos, costilla beef ribs, to Arizona's best birria. Head over to Rustico Dos for Juan's amazing smoked brisket, pulled pork and ribs, plus all your Mexican favorites. For more, check out tacorustico.com.
Arizona was built on big dreams and the people who made them a reality. From the Central Arizona Project to the highways that connect our communities, progress has been powered by hard work and vision. Today, Hud Bay's Copper World Project is investing in that same spirit, creating hundreds of jobs, partnering with skilled labor, and creating tremendous economic impact. Because copper builds more than infrastructure. It builds opportunities for Arizona families.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Picture Rock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing has a spectacular $59 drain special for the month of October. At Picture Rock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, our highly qualified plumbers will solve your scary plumbing problems and keep the goblins out of your drains. This special is for residential properties only. Call for details at 520-492-0748 or book your appointment online at picturerockscooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Hello, I'm Kari from Southern Arizona Cleaning and Supply. We continue to offer premium commercial cleaning services, and now we have expanded our storefront, moving into Suite 104. Everyone can benefit from our professional cleaning and janitorial supplies at the most competitive prices. Stop by and let us help you select the products to keep your home and business spotless. We are locally owned and operated and have been proud to call Tucson our home for over 3 decades. Southern Arizona Cleaning and Supply, 1801 South Alvernon, Suite 104, or call us at 520-495-4097.
Looking for the best outdoor patio in Tucson? Look no further than St. Philip's Plaza at the southeast corner of River and Campbell, where you can sip on Tucson's finest collection of whiskey at Union Public House, brunch 7 days a week at Reforma Modern Mexican Mezcal and Tequila, and experience our newest restaurant, Proof, proudly serving house-made pasta and artisanal pizza. Enjoy live music and dine under the stars with Union, Reforma, and Proof. Join us at St. Philip's Plaza.
Don't wait for a leak to show up before trying to find a roofer during roofing's busiest time of year. Call Blueprint Home Services today to schedule a free inspection. Blueprint Home Services offers free, fast estimates, price lock guarantees, and the longest workmanship warranty in Tucson. Again, that number is 520-525-2555. You can also book an appointment at blueprinthomeservice.com. Blueprint Home Services is licensed, bonded, insured, and trusted. AZROC number 322635.
Hi, it's Bill Ding here, first caller.
Hey, Bill. I love doing DIY projects. Is Gerson's only for professionals?
No way! Gerson's has tons to offer for the do-it-yourselfer. Come check out our furniture and old doors. Perfect for projects.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Next caller.
Help, Bill. We're remodeling our home and the big box stores are just too expensive. What can we find at Gerson's?
At Gerson's, you'll find cabinets, ceiling fans, tons of sinks, and ceramic tile, and 5-gallon buckets of paint in a multitude of colors. Online at gersonsbuildingmaterials.com or 4726 South Country Club, just north of Irvington.
Welcome to Tucson Strength, or as we like to say, welcome home. We are Tucson's locally owned gym that was built out of a passion for strength. Our goal isn't to slam our gym full of people for the lowest price possible. We are here for those that want a focused training environment with the best equipment around, and a supportive community that is tired of the big box gym scene.
It's more of Wake Up with Chris DeSimone on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, back to the show.
I got to hear All Natural, the amazing voiceovers by Greg Geringa on our new title intros and coming back, and so good. His voice he's a total pro, and so love that he's part of trying to build around here and keep building here at Live the Dream. So thank you, Greg, for great work. And again, I didn't do it because I was in the middle of talking to Nils Grivellius, of course. And thanks to everyone who filled in for me while I was in St. George for a wedding. And so Shelley and Sean, Dan Grossenbach made his debut podcasting hosting with us with Ben Bueller-Garcia. That was a great show on Thursday. And then, of course, if you missed the discussion with Professor Abraham, who's also attacked by U of A administration for free speech issues and other things, check it out. That was in the third hour with Dan and Ben. And then we had Barney and Ted Maxwell on Wednesday's show. And I know they talked to Linda Barber, who's a longtime Republican, formerly the head of the party, and a lot of great stories from Linda. So thank you for all six of you for filling in for me. Truly appreciate it. And then it looks like Josh from Giuseppe's had a nice visit with Sean and Shelley on Friday. So that was really, really good. Thank you to all of you. I appreciate it. I was going to do holidays, and then I got caught up at Nils. And Nils is just, he just lets it fly, and he'll talk about anything. I mean, we covered it all. 9,000% increase in the fentanyl deaths of seniors in the last 8 years, according to a University of Nevada, Reno report presented to the American Society of Anesthesiologists in the last couple of weeks. We talked about the Epstein files, and his take is he thinks it's a intelligence operation, possibly CIA, maybe MI6, not Mossad, because the Mossad wouldn't have been so sloppy, according to Nils. And the reason it hasn't been released yet is they're still deriving certain information, intelligence information, out of it before they get any of this out. So, and then we talked about foreign terrorists on American soil. And again, I don't know if we'll ever be able to do it, but some bad characters came through the Pima County Underground Railroad. Brought to you by the Pima County Board of Soups and the Diocese of Tucson and Catholic Community Services. It's a great percentage chance that one or two bad characters came through that, and we just keep looking back at those 4 years and go shake our head. That's why we'll get to No Kings in a second. It's let's see, International Chef's Day. It's National Brandied Fruit Day. Who knew? I guess, are we getting ready for fruitcakes? That's why. It's National Chicken and Waffles Day. Well, remember when everyone had a chicken and waffles concept? That's all we did was chicken and waffles. It's now become a pretty good national standard on a lot of menus. Clean Your Virtual Desktop Day. So all of you with 3.7 million cookies on your computers, this might be the chance to do it. National Day of Writing, like writing. National Mozzarella Stick Day. Yikes. World Calvados Day, which of course is a spirit made of apples. Osteoporosis Day. World Statistics Day. Don't let that get in your way. And National Pants Suspenders Day. So, and Office Chocolate Day. Every day is Office Chocolate Day for half you folks. So, let's talk about No Kings Day real quick, and then we'll get to Bill Maher before we get to Brother Joe. Who's doing the polling and surveying at the Democrat Party? That's what I want to know. Why is this the thing? Because so look, if you're part of Republican election apparatus nationally, you love No Kings Day. I would, if I was sitting in my smoke-filled room back in Silver Spring, Maryland, no, Reston, Virginia, beautiful suburb, sitting in someone's man cave smoking cigars, you would say, can we have No Kings Day every Saturday? Let's bring it. It's amazing. Because no one knows what the hell you're talking about. Now, you know, I understand what you're talking to your hard base. I got it. I got it, right? Your hard base is, and a lot of it is some nice, a lot of senior Democrats are out there. No kings! But if I'm the Republican Party, let's do it. Please, give me more no. Because the middle voter, right, that independent, has no idea what you're talking about. And because you're going to say, so Trump is wielding imperial power, ruining our lives. That's literally what they're saying. He is wielding imperial power that is ruining the average bear life. I would tell you the biggest problem Trump has with his effect on the average bear is, I think that tariffs are increasing the price of living. But that's not an overly imperial move. Yeah, the Biden administration imposed tariffs also. Not to the level, but it's not like they were waiting for congressional approval to do that, and none of you bitched about that. But the average bear who saw when you guys had both houses of Congress and the presidency during a national emergency of 4 years of pandemics and all of this other jazz, the edicts of the Biden administration, and also just Democrats in states and counties and cities, we're living proof of it. That was way more imperial than anything Trump's doing, right? You see, what is Trump doing? I mean, again, that's someone said we have to say no more kings because it sounds great, right? But in the end, you're saying he's wielding over a more than his fair share of executive power that's ruining the average American's life. And the average American, I don't know where you guys get this from. Right? And what's the message out of that? Because the independent voter that's going to make the difference in elections, they don't know what you're talking about. Right? You guys were the party of saying which businesses were important and which were unimportant during COVID. You're the party that said illegal immigrants are more important than veterans or average citizens in America, right? You're the party that closed down businesses, forced people to take an experimental vaccine. Now, Trump got it started with Operation Warp Speed, but he was never on the hook for forcing people to take vaccines. Right? You're the party that put Kamala Harris in as your vice president, as your presidential candidate, ignoring all the organizational things of democracy that you're supposed to do in your own party. So I mean, you're obviously being hypocritical, is what I'm saying. But what's the play here? That's what I don't get. What's the play? Right? Who is listening to you on the independent? And then look who are your deliverers of the information? Right? I got Regina Romero looking like, she's like Cesar Chavez at a labor rally, right? I mean, that's your that she's going to convince independent voters of do not obey. What? Go, please. Let's go. I mean, Charles Schumer talking about no kings. Right? Charles Schumer, part of the Democrat legislative apparatus that as the minority can't do a clean resolution extension. Now, remember, if he was a king, he'd somehow make it happen that we're going to keep the government open without the consent of the minority party. Right? I mean, who? And then back to the Democrats bench. What are you presenting me with? Cory Booker? I got Kamala saying she's the most qualified person to ever run for president. Is it really Gavin Newsom? I mean, the idea that Gavin Newsom thinks he's got a shot is hot. All you got to go back to the Ron DeSantis debate that he did. I mean, DeSantis dismantled him during the entire debate, but when he whipped out the San Francisco poop map of here's the parts of the city of San Francisco not to go to because there's a more than our fair share of fecal matter on the ground, you kind of lose, Gavin, right? So who do I got? AOC, Ilhan Omar? Who's the rock star of the Democrat Party? It sure ain't Jasmine Crockett. When you have to manage your accents for which audience you're talking to, I don't know what to do with you guys. I don't. Who do you got? Right? The Republican Party, all we can do is blow it, right? I mean, and if you're the Democrats, how do you win back the middle? Well, I have seen a commercial that they have been running some PAC about the cost of living. Bing. That's what you talk about. The average in the middle can understand that, right? If I was going to bang against the Republican Party as the Democrats, I would have a PAC saying, God, things are still expensive. And I would be playing Trump talking about, we've really tied in the inflation. We really fixed it, which he hasn't. It's tough. Inflation is tough. So you got to watch your mouth about how we've either fixed it or we've curtailed it. I'm not saying it hasn't slowed down, but damn it, people. Things are, and I'm telling you, tariffs don't help. They're not helping. So that was good. I mean, I've seen that from I'm saying good for the Democrats. That's the only message you got right now. But the idea to say, no more kings. Ugh. It was just like they just moved the Tesla protests into no more kings. Right? It's, if you go to a Tucson one, I mean, it's just wild. But again, so the Republicans, it's yours to blow. It's yours to blow. Right? I mean, that's why. So, and again, it has to do with what's our quality of candidates. All we have to do next year in those statewide elections is run good Republican candidates that are appealable to the average bear. That's it. Don't get stupid. Don't run people with extremist stuff or reputations that can be exploited, and move on with your day. That's where you're at. You want to win the state. You want to win back the state administrative offices next year. That's why Schweikert's running, because no matter how much a lot of us like Andy, and I like Andy, right? Is Andy's got some problems with the average voter. That's it. So I understand. So you somehow you think Schweikert's going to be a rhino horse crap. We got to win the damn thing. Karen's got no appeal. No appeal. That's why I said appealable earlier. Karen does not appeal to the average bear. She comes off as a rich lady from Paradise Valley. And now you put me between. Is Alex? People keep telling me Alex Culloden's a smart guy. Okay. I mean, I heard his name because I know he's a legislator, but I don't know. And what we're gonna see, and what we gotta really be careful. Turning Point. Turning Point is going to be an interesting dynamic coming up into this election. Now, I need you to separate Charlie Kirk from Turning Point. Because what Charlie was doing on the college campuses was really awesome. I really admire everything he was doing, having these kind of debates in the middle of college campuses. And he paid for it with his life. And in this day and age, the average elected official doesn't want to, and they're always, it doesn't want to interact with the public, right? Imagine if Regina Romero went to the 4th Avenue Street Fair with an open mic and said, "Talk to me about Tucson." Never happened. Now, there is some security for certain problems for certain people. But I don't know, maybe we can put people in a Pope-mobile or something like that. If you could put someone in a Pope-mobile, bulletproof glass, and you sat your favorite elected official out in public, they still wouldn't do it. All right? But let me get back to Turning Point. Turning Point as a getting people elected apparatus, I'm not saying they don't do the work. But, of course, Turning Point was tied with Kerry Lake. The other thing I'm really worried about with Turning Point is that if you push the kind of candidate like Kerry Lake that they loved in statewide elections. Now, if you noticed, Andy Biggs has tied himself to Turning Point. Now, I have seen Andy in, we've done video interviews. I've seen him live, on video interviews. Andy and I have been to events together. And so his person who booked him on the show the last time said, "Hey, is this going to be on video?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "I just want to make sure he's dressed appropriately," which was weird because Andy always looks great. I mean, he's always wearing a shirt and tie when I see him. Interviews. I think the sloppiest I've ever seen, and I'm not saying sloppiest I've ever seen Andy is wearing a very sharp golf shirt and nice pants. But if you notice, when he came on, he was just wearing, I've never seen Andy in a t-shirt, but he was wearing his Freedom shirt from Turning Point, right? Which is part of the branding of Turning Point. I get it. And so again, I'm just worried that I don't want. I appreciate what Turning Point tries to do, and there are people that are knocking on doors and stuff on the Turning Point dime, which is good because the Republican Party has lots of problems with the activist side, right? I don't want to hear about, you'll always hear party chairmen talk about, I got this many precinct committee people, which when I talk to people who work in elections, only 5 or 10% of precinct committee people actually truly work during election time on campaigns, right? So if they go, I got 800, well, you got 75 to 80 that might work in a county of 1 million. Sometimes it's 40 to 50 or lower. So I'm just telling you, as I move through here and we get to, the Democrats are just they're handing you the midterms, actually. The Democrat Party is handing you the 2026 elections. Because if you're hanging your hat on no more kings for next year, go for it. I don't see it playing anywhere. People don't even know what you're talking about. They're not seeing it. Because it's not there. And I guess God bless you, and we'll move on. But if we just run a slate of normal Republicans that can appeal to the state of Arizona average bear, middle income independent voter, we win all the races next year. But I don't know if we're going to do that. And are they going to be so scared of the Turning Point apparatus or going against that? Will better appealable candidates just never run? And that's going to be a problem next year, too. And then what will happen is they'll blame rhinos like me. Again, you're on the Live the Dream Media Network, 7:56 Arizona time, 10:56 East Coast time, New York time. And Brother Joe's calling in. He's on the road, but he's going to call in from the car, spend a little time with us. So we will see you on the other side.
This is Wake Up with Chris DeSimone, only on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Calling all families, the Marana Pumpkin Patch is your ticket to fall fun for everyone. We've got jumping pillows, a diesel train, farm animals, and our famous corn maze. Plus, explore our massive 70-acre pumpkin patch from Post Farms. Marana Pumpkin Patch, where families make unforgettable fall memories. Tickets available at maranapumpkinpatch.com.
Hi, this is Sean McCluskey, co-owner and designated broker for Rincon Ventures. If you're a rental owner by choice or by accident and you're looking to hire or change property management companies, consider Rincon Ventures. We employ an aggressive web-based advertising strategy to market your rental. We thoroughly screen prospective tenants and conduct routine property inspections. Our online system gives tenants the ability to pay rent and file maintenance requests instantly over the web. Our owners can use the same system to instantly check on their properties. Call Rincon Ventures at 881-2258 or visit us on the web at rvprop.com.
Don't wait for a leak to show up before trying to find a roofer during roofing's busiest time of year. Call Blueprint Home Services today to schedule a free inspection. Blueprint Home Services offers free, fast estimates, price lock guarantees, and the longest workmanship warranty in Tucson. Again, that number is 520-525-2555. You can also book an appointment at blueprinthomeservice.com. Blueprint Home Services is licensed, bonded, insured, and trusted. AZROC number 322635.
How do you thank the heroes who serve and protect us every day? Come to the 5th annual Rockin' for Heroes free concert Sunday, November 9th in Oro Valley. Gates open at 1 p.m. Enjoy live classic rock, food trucks, and beverages too. Come celebrate our first responders, active duty military, veterans, and Gold Star families. Admission is free. We'll bring a chair and we'll see you there, November 9th in Oro Valley. You can get more information at rockinforheroes.org. Proudly sponsored by HSL Properties.
When water damage in Marana strikes unexpectedly, it's important to respond quickly and efficiently. Voda Cleaning and Restoration provides fast, efficient water mitigation and mediation services to protect your home and prevent further damage. We manage every aspect of the restoration process, including water extraction, structural repairs, and mold prevention and remediation. We also offer expert cleaning services to restore your home to a clean and healthy condition. If the water damage is covered by insurance, we'll work directly with your provider to simplify the claims process. Our goal is to make the entire experience as stress-free as possible. Don't wait, act fast to prevent further issues and costly repairs. Ask about our expert floor cleaning services. You will be impressed. Give Clint Bolin a call at 520-891-7235 or schedule an appointment at myvoda.com.
Looking for the best outdoor patio in Tucson? Look no further than St. Philip's Plaza at the southeast corner of River and Campbell, where you can sip on Tucson's finest collection of whiskey at Union Public House, brunch 7 days a week at Reforma Modern Mexican Mezcal and Tequila, and experience our newest restaurant, Proof, proudly serving house-made pasta and artisanal pizza. Enjoy live music and dine under the stars with Union, Reforma, and Proof. Join us at St. Philip's Plaza.
Welcome to Tucson Strength, or as we like to say, welcome home. We are Tucson's locally owned gym that was built out of a passion for strength. Our goal isn't to slam our gym full of people for the lowest price possible. We are here for those that want a focused training environment with the best equipment around, and a supportive community that is tired of the big box gym scene.
Our story began by listening, face to face with neighbors. Because water and clean air are precious here, we'll replenish what we use and work to keep desert skies clear. Here, mining and ranching continue to coexist, providing jobs and stewardship for the land. Fully permitted, we'll build responsibly and keep listening. Because Hudbay cares. For our employees, our neighbors, and the desert we call home.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
This is Sammy with SGM, your local outdoor design expert, serving Tucson and surrounding areas since 2019. At SGM, we don't just install turf and pavers, we design your dream yard. With our 3D renderings, you'll see it right on your phone before we break ground. No surprises, just excitement. From artificial turf and paver patios to fire pits and outdoor kitchens, we bring your backyard vision to life. Licensed, bonded, and insured. At SGM, we believe every yard deserves more. More beauty, more function, and yes, more turf. So when you think turf, think more turf. Call SGM today, the More Turf Guys. 520-668-2281.
ROC number 340070.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
When exploring America's best city for Mexican food, start off at one of the best, El Taco Rustico. Chef Juan Almanza is crafting some of the best dishes in Tucson at 2 locations, Grant and Oracle and the new Rustico Dos at Park and Silver Lake. Everything on the menu is a standout, from the shrimp rojitos, costilla beef ribs, to Arizona's best birria. Head over to Rustico Dos for Juan's amazing smoked brisket, pulled pork and ribs, plus all your Mexican favorites. For more, check out tacorustico.com.
In Marana, community isn't just where we live, it's who we are. And at the heart of it all is the Marana Chamber of Commerce. We are building a thriving community through connected business leadership. We start the month bright and early with Marana Mornings, sparking real conversations and connections. We celebrate growing networks at our 4th Tuesday mixers, hosted in exciting spaces. We unite visionaries and leaders at Impact Marana, driving meaningful progress together. We look ahead with Marana Insights, hearing directly from regional voices about what's next for our town. And we serve through the passion of our board of directors and ambassadors, creating a culture of belonging through service and leadership. Because of our members, we're not just doing more, we're becoming more. Together, we're shaping the future of Marana. We are the Marana Chamber of Commerce.
Your favorite radio just got bigger, bolder, and better connected. Live the Dream Media is revolutionizing how you stay tuned in. With our explosive growth in online radio and our brand new mobile app, your entertainment goes wherever you do. Stream your favorite shows, discover new hits, and connect with audiences across the digital landscape, all at your fingertips. Advertisers don't miss out. Join our expanding digital network and reach engaged listeners across platforms. Download the Live the Dream Media app today and experience radio reimagined.
You're listening to Wake Up with Christopher DeSimone on the Live the Dream Media Network, Southern Arizona's premier live talk and online radio.
Look at Welcome back to Live the Dream Media. Had some friends who did the old pumpkin patch in Marana Pumpkin Patch this weekend. Glorious weather. David went the week before. He was just telling me the weekend that it rained. He said the place was still packed, and people were smart. They're like, "Yeah, take your umbrella. Have a rainy day at the pumpkin patch in Arizona, in Southern Arizona, all day in the hay, as we say." Wow. I didn't even think I was going to run like that. If you missed, so first and foremost, for this streaming thing that's going on, it's a big problem for a lot of people, not just us. Infinity's having problems. Amazon Web Services is down. It's a problemo, as we like to say. So, it's just not a LTD thing. This is a global thing. A little bit of a global thing, just to let you know. If you missed this show, woof, it was a good one. I bored the living crap out of everyone with my vacation pictures and stories from going to a wedding in St. George, Utah, and finding out that things are still cheaper to eat in a restaurant in these other cities than down here. It is absolutely amazing. Nils Grivellius was on the show, our private investigator from Los Angeles, and he always just lets it fly. Like him, he's unbelievable. I want to get to, and then Marana Oro Valley Experience coming up in 53 minutes. Now, we have Phil Mickelson. Played at ASU. Won some majors. A prodigious NFL football bettor in his prime. The amount of money that Phil blew on NFL betting was off the charts. He used to come on one of the ESPN radio shows and pretty much break down who he was betting on this weekend. But thank you to Aldo from Al Gusto Coffee. We have our Indonesian Bali blend today. Very nice. AlGustoCoffee.com. So Phil's gotten a little more political in his older age. So he's talking about No King's Day. Phil Mickelson. Quote, on this special day, as we all gather to fight against blanket auto pen pardons and executive orders, lawlessness, and stealing citizens' resources for illegal non-citizens, I believe it has worked, unquote. He also went after some of his past things with Phil. Ilhan Omar went on with Caitlin Collins from CNN. Quote, "It's one thing to care about his life because she's talking about Charlie Kirk. She said, I'm not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should be hopefully move on and forget the hate he spewed every single day," unquote. Let's go to lefty golfer Phil Mickelson. Quote, "Ilhan spews hate every time she opens her mouth. She came here fraudulently and hopefully will be sent back to Somalia soon." Damn, Phil. Then he goes after Jasmine Crockett. And he says, Jasmine and Ilhan spew hate every time they open their mouth, and it's total BS. He actually said the real word. They are the problem, certainly aren't the solution, and they both need to go. Who knew, Phil? Tony, any word from Brother Joe yet? Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, get out of here. Oh. Okay. Hold on, Brother Joe. Are you calling any time this hour? Question mark. Let's go. Yeesh. Again, this is like when I text David Schweikert. And you get to see the behind the scenes, as we like to say. Let's play some Bill Maher while we're waiting for Brother Joe. Bill Maher brought up one of the most uncovered miseries of the global world on his show Friday night. And it had to do with the genocide of Christians in Africa. So let's go to Bill Maher, Mr. Tony, talking about this on his show on Friday night. So let's do it.
If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media sources suck. You are in a bubble. And again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Because no one will talk about it, so thank you.
Absolutely.
It's Africa. That's why no one's talking about it, and they should be. You can't read about it in mainstream media. It's sad, so thank you for bringing it up.
Well, because the Jews aren't involved. That's why. It's the Christians and the Muslims. Who cares? If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media...
Thank you, Bill. Again, Bill, I got to give him credit, man. So according to World Watch List, nearly 70% of all Christians killed for their faith last year were slaughtered in the country of Nigeria. It's not just torched churches, this is from Not to Be. Entire villages are being erased. Families are being executed for no reason than bearing the name of Jesus Christ. You're killing me, man. I just did. Okay, hold on. I'm going to put the dashes in this time. This will work better, I bet. There we go. Now, it's one of the most horrifying humanitarian crises of the time, and it registers less than a whisper on most Western news programs. And he is right? Is because the victims are Christians, for some reason they rate less than Gaza or Hamas. Right? So you can say part of it is they don't like Israel, right? And so Israel is doing bad things to, right? But again, the media has had this amazing blind eye to the religion of peace for years. Right? I mean, even after 9/11 and what went down there, right? The idea that you would see these Democrat women, or just the Democrat Party, who says they're the party of women because they allow you to abort your child, right? That if there's one religion that treats their females the worst, it has to be Islam. It's not even close. I mean, that's why I love when they what was the book and the movie with the it's the dystopian thing where the women wear their the handmaids, that one. and that's a crackdown on, that's supposed to be a crackback on Christianity. Islam's what? Imagine if they did a Handmaid's Tale, and about a dystopia run by Islam. They'd never do it, but that would be more accurate, like way more accurate, right? So the religion that just it's okay to murder people that aren't Islamic, right? And then when it comes to women, right? Not only do you have burqas, but your job is to get pregnant and take care of children, and that's it. We will sell 14-year-old girls to old other Islamists for what the hell? Guys are killing their daughters, cutting their hands off, all these other things. Right? I mean, the blind eye media-wise to Islam is unbelievable. They almost got it when the guys murdered the people at the Charlie Hebdo magazine newspaper in Paris. Remember, because the cartoonist did the whole thing about Muhammad. And I remember that little psycho Svitz at the cartoon guy here. I remember he was so troubled by that. He did a beautiful cartoon and that kind of thing, right? But of course, Fitz would never do anything cracking against Islam, even though he defecated on Christianity like all the time. So again, it is amazing that the media's blind eye to Islam and the atrocities that Islam. Here's the other thing, right? So you want to break down, well, Chris, there's 1 billion people that are practicing Islamists. Okay. It's only a small percentage of them. And so I'll go back to what I say all the time when we get to the religion of, let me do the air fingers, religion of peace, right? Is where are the people who run the religion saying, bro, that's not what we're here for. They don't do that. Right? Even if you have a guy who blows up, he's a Christian, it hasn't happened in a while, but blows up an abortion clinic because he thinks he's saving babies' lives by murdering people, which is absolutely abhorrent and wrong to do. Right? Well, the church leaders will go, hey, bro, that's not what we're about. Publicly. We're sorry that this guy went that extreme to do that. They'll say it. But it's not like you have some prominent moms going, hey, bro, Boko Haram, stop slaughtering Christians. Let's ask the Google, how many Christians have been murdered in Nigeria? No, it's amazing. That doesn't even come up as like a that's, I always love the one of the things that came up is when it said, when I would murder, so it doesn't even bring up Nigeria, which is the leader in the clubhouse for murdering Christians. But you know what guess the first one it is how many have been killed in Gaza. Right? All right, let me put the word killed instead of murdered. Maybe I like that better. Killed in Gaza, killed by Israel. I'm telling you, man. Now, this is the most bizarre Google suggestion so far. How many Christians have been killed by sharks? Not making that up. I gotta take a picture of that. That's unbelievable. Is there someone monitoring the amount of Christians that have been killed by? I should just hit that. Hold on before I do this. Forget about the Nigerian thing. I want to see if it says sharks. Then it says shark. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to do this thing. Tony, we're going to bring Joe on after break. Okay. Hold on. Estimates since the year 2000 are because of course the statistics are not accurate coming out of Nigeria, but they say some estimates have it over 100,000 people, Christians, murdered in the last 25 years in Nigeria. The other thing I'd like to say with that is, I'm going to say for my crew, because I'm the pain in the ass Catholic, Roman Catholic, right? Where's the useless popes on this one? Right? Where are you kids at? You're worrying about honoring Dirk Durbin and these losers. Where are you on this one, Pope Leo? And for all of you that thought Pope Leo was going to be better than Pope Francis, he's a Catholic bishop from Chicago. What do you think he was going to be? He's buddies with Quincanus. They're both bishops from Chicago. You can't get more useless than these guys when it comes to church teaching. Come on. Catholic bishops from Chicago are a problem. They're liberals. So what's the difference of being... So they banged on Pope Francis because he was a commie from Argentina. Okay. Leo's a commie from Chicago until proven... I mean, he shot his mouth off last week and ruined it. So, anyway, I don't want to get on Pope talk. We're going to go to break, visit some great sponsors. Brother Joe is on the line. Lots of stuff to cover with Brother Joe. You're on the Live the Dream Media Network.
This is Wake Up with Chris DeSimone, only on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Hi, this is Sean McCluskey, co-owner and designated broker for Rincon Ventures. If you're a rental owner by choice or by accident and you're looking to hire or change property management companies, consider Rincon Ventures. We employ an aggressive web-based advertising strategy to market your rental. We thoroughly screen prospective tenants and conduct routine property inspections. Our online system gives tenants the ability to pay rent and file maintenance requests instantly over the web. Our owners can use the same system to instantly check on their properties. Call Rincon Ventures at 881-2258 or visit us on the web at rvprop.com.
When water damage in Marana strikes unexpectedly, it's important to respond quickly and efficiently. Voda Cleaning and Restoration provides fast, efficient water mitigation and mediation services to protect your home and prevent further damage. We manage every aspect of the restoration process, including water extraction, structural repairs, and mold prevention and remediation. We also offer expert cleaning services to restore your home to a clean and healthy condition. If the water damage is covered by insurance, we'll work directly with your provider to simplify the claims process. Our goal is to make the entire experience as stress-free as possible. Don't wait, act fast to prevent further issues and costly repairs. Ask about our expert floor cleaning services. You will be impressed. Give Clint Bolin a call at 520-891-7235 or schedule an appointment at myvoda.com.
Hi, it's Bill Ding here, first caller.
Hey, Bill. I love doing DIY projects. Is Gerson's only for professionals?
No way. Gerson's has tons to offer for the do-it-yourselfer. Come check out our furniture and old doors. Perfect for projects.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Next caller.
Help, Bill. We're remodeling our home and the big box stores are just too expensive. What can we find at Gerson's?
At Gerson's, you'll find cabinets, ceiling fans, tons of sinks, and ceramic tile. And 5-gallon buckets of paint in a multitude of colors. Online at gersonsbuildingmaterials.com or 4726 South Country Club, just north of Irvington.
Welcome to Tucson Strength, or as we like to say, welcome home. We are Tucson's locally owned gym that was built out of a passion for strength. Our goal isn't to slam our gym full of people for the lowest price possible. We are here for those that want a focused training environment with the best equipment around, and a supportive community that is tired of the big box gym scene.
Arizona was built on big dreams and the people who made them a reality. From the Central Arizona Project to the highways that connect our communities, progress has been powered by hard work and vision. Today, Hudbay's Copper World Project is investing in that same spirit, creating hundreds of jobs, partnering with skilled labor, and creating tremendous economic impact. Because copper builds more than infrastructure. It builds opportunities for Arizona families.
How do you thank the heroes who serve and protect us every day? Come to the 5th annual Rockin' for Heroes free concert Sunday, November 9th in Oro Valley. Gates open at 1 p.m. Enjoy live classic rock, food trucks, and beverages too. Come celebrate our first responders, active duty military, veterans, and Gold Star families. Admission is free. We'll bring a chair and we'll see you there, November 9th in Oro Valley. You can get more information at rockinforheroes.org. Proudly sponsored by HSL Properties.
It's more of Wake Up with Chris DeSimone on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're on Live the Dream Media. Christopher D. Box today. Now, part of our streaming situation is Amazon widespread AWS, Amazon Web Services outage, takes down the internet. This is now all over. This is from CNN. The internet just had another global outage. Why does this keep happening? I'm sure it's because we don't have enough data centers. So that beautiful laugh you just heard is Brother Joe. Brother Joe, hello, friend.
Happy Monday. You know, thank you for mentioning the data centers. I'm hitting the ground running here on Monday morning, and it's good to be here in Wakey Nation.
Well, we wanted to put a picture up of you on the screen, so it's the beautiful portrait you took with Seize the Gray that's on your Facebook page. So you and Preakness winner Seize the Gray are on the screen right now together. So,
you know, that horse has made up for many of my faults. So God bless him.
That's inappropriate.
Between him and my two dogs, God sent a few angels to help me, save me.
It's a beautiful picture. I love that picture of you in the gray. So, but and we're working on a couple other ponies we're involved with right now. So we'll be good. I was just trying to bring up a page of something else to talk about. I want to look up a finance story with you, and they were also the lack of data centers. Global outage got me again. Let's see if Google's got anything today.
and then you also ask yourself, Brother Chris, where is the power going to? I've been a big investor in the power to drive these data centers. The need for energy is enormous. It's beyond imagination.
I know you were telling me about what was the one? It was Oklo. Was that the one?
Oklo and LEU. Those two have just, and then Oklo is kind of married to the hip with Lightbridge, LTBR, for clean burning nuclear power. But those stocks were all around $30-$40, and now they're near. Oklo's near 180 something, and LEU was over 400 when I looked at it last week.
Actually, Oklo is it's life. I mean, it's down off of that. It's It got to 155. It's about 158 right now. Oklo. But Oklo, this is the run on Oklo though. Oklo started the year in the last 12 months. It was last October. It was $22.34 a share. Oklo.
I got in around 37. So whatever it is today, it's not cramping my style.
The Advanced Nuclear Technology Company based in Santa Clara. Jacob and Carolyn DeWitt. I don't know if they're married or brothers and sisters. Both graduates of MIT. They design compact, fast reactors with the aim of providing clean, safe, affordable energy. Oh, you know who the chairman was in April 25, who stepped down? OpenAI co-founder Sam Altman.
Kaboom! Kaboom! Now you got it.
Actually, I mean, this is what we're talking about, right? It's the idea of they keep talking about tiny nuclear reactors strategically placed, not just for things like AI, but also just to power communities, right? This is the future of where we're at, right? Is doing this kind of stuff. So I kind of like it. So let's see. So we see that the oh yes, I understand about the global outage. That's all over the news right now. They're talking about the market's up because of Apple. I guess had a good report coming back on their stuff, and Apple has built such a brand, right, on these iPhones. I won't say their names, but there's some friends of the show that literally cut their vacation short by 2 days in northern Arizona to make sure they came down to get the new iPhone. I've never heard of such a thing. I'm giving up 2 days in the pines of northern Arizona to run down to Tucson to get my my iPhone. Have you ever seen such a loyalty to a product?
Well, I'm a Google guy, so I'm not the best guy to ask. But just go to Skyline and Campbell at La Encantada, the Apple store. It just rocks. I mean, it's just a stream of people, all ages. So their brand is doing something right. They're delivering on what people want. And Steve Jobs was smart enough to put a computer on a telephone over a decade ago. Here we are. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So there was a story that came out talking about, I like how we have to have the discussion of private inflation data because, the government's not working right now, as we know. Right. And so this is a report, and this is kind of been one of my problems, right? Is showing that inflation, the tariff is making goods more expensive, right? And so I think this is, I like I said, I think this is kind of the ugly side of tariffs, right? Is you already have a nation that's reeling from inflation coming out of the Biden-Harris team spending and calling things like here's something you want something that's king-like, Democrats? Blowing up inflation was something called the Inflation Reduction Act. Just want to let you know that. That's called gaslighting an entire country of 343 million people. Just want to let you know that. But so again, I know there's certain positives with the tariffs. I know there's companies that are moving stuff to America so they don't have to pay tariffs. But how does this all play out? Because stuff in the store is more expensive now than it was 3 months ago. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing cheaper in the supermarket for the average American since Donald Trump took over. How does he negotiate this?
You're taking a very broad economic policy. Picture not a tugboat, but a barge in the harbor.
Yep.
Full of sand. Like at Hempstead Harbor in New York.
Yep.
When you're talking about the United States economy, I see it as this huge barge in the harbor.
Agreed.
So this president is turning around this barge, and you cannot turn it on a dime. But the tariffs, which largely corporate America is eating, tariffs certainly give the government leverage in negotiations. It also, as you're seeing today, they're opening up a $3 billion factory for Merck in Virginia to produce pharmaceuticals in this country. And if we take a step back, I'm concerned, and I'm sure a lot of other people are concerned, that we're manufacturing pharmaceuticals in China.
Right.
And that if we have a problem with China, what's going to happen to everybody's necessary medicine? Or I don't even like the quality standards in China. So, I
agree.
So the tariffs were an impetus, right, to build this pharmaceutical, which will give jobs and create construction jobs and create ancillary businesses across that area. And so many hundreds and hundreds of people will be employed by it. So that's good for the economy. Same thing with one of my favorite stocks, NVIDIA. They actually fabricated one of their famous chips up here in North Phoenix at Taiwan Semiconductor. That's revolutionary. Chris, everything was done in Taiwan.
Yep.
Now this is starting to come here. So I'm a believer, in the big picture, right? I always start with the macro and then it kind of goes down to the microeconomic approach. You have to be a believer that America can produce goods and services. There's no need to go to China for pharmaceuticals. There's no need to make Taiwan the only place to do semiconductors. And so it's given us the leverage. Secondly, we have so much money in the Treasury from these tariffs that we're cash positive. Congress couldn't do it for the We're moving along, and now that money could be used for a lot of different things for the good of the economic stability of the United States, our bond market, our mortgage market, the use of tax cuts. So I think we need to stop worrying about saving a few cents and everybody's vision of utopia is going to Walmart.
Well, I agree with I agree with what you're saying, Joe, but I think the other part is someone's got to tell me, some nerd's got to come up with what percentage of the tariffs collected this year was paid by corporations and how much was paid by the average American. I don't know if you can even figure that out, but that's my problem. And then you hear from some people in the administration that, well, we're not going to be able to get it down right now, but we're trying to raise the income of the average American, and that's also turning a large barge itself. So the thing that also worries me, Joe, I don't know if you saw the story that there's more Americans.
No, because Amazon was down.
So, thank you.
Amazon was down. I didn't see anything. I didn't interrupt you.
We're talking about the global outage that's going on right now. I don't know if you saw the other story is the amount of Americans that are not paying their car payment, right? The amount of missing car payments is getting towards a record high. And so they're talking about U.S. car possessions have surged as more Americans are defaulting on their auto loans. So I'm just saying, and there's a lot of people in auto loans that shouldn't be in auto loans. I get it, but I'm just a little worried about we always talk about kitchen table issues that drive.
Okay,
Americans.
I'll give you kitchen table. Drop the interest rates 50 basis points to a point, and bring down mortgage rates, car loan rates, and stop playing games. Stop trying. They're trying to choke the economy, slow it down, playing this illusionary game about inflation. It's 2.5% versus 2%. It's just time to put up or shut up.
Right.
And the rates are too high. So there's your inflation. There's your answer. You want to turn the barge quickly, drop the interest rates 1 point, and you'll see this thing fly.
I'm not going to argue with on that one, my friend. The other thing I always see in the news today, I don't know if you guys know, there's a global outage in the internet, is the data coming out of China, right? This is the thing about them being such a big partner in the global economy. How do you believe anything that comes out of these people, right? They're talking about how they had a huge industrial surge and blah, 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 but do you believe anything that comes out of the Chinese government for data to try to figure out a global economy?
The thing is, China has really nice people, great people. And unfortunately, their government is hijacked by this red communist government it's evil.
Yeah.
Chris, they're torturing people of religion out there.
Yep.
Talking, well, what are they doing to the Christians and the Catholics in the church in China? Look what they're doing to that guy, Jimmy Lau, in Hong Kong, 77 years old, journalist, Catholic. These people are as nasty as they can be. So it's like doing business with the devil. Do you expect the devil to give you an honest deal and to be honest? And it's time for us to decouple from these people. Like I said, everybody tells me Putin is such a bad guy. Maybe he is, but maybe you can do business with him where China is a dead end. To me, China is a dead end, even though it's a big market. You can't deal with the communist government, but you could deal with the mafia government. You could deal with a lot of other things.
I think also, right, is so you always say to yourself, what are those, and you mentioned it with chips and pharmaceuticals, right? I think the other one would be steel, right? Is what are those crucial products that you should have more of it in American soil, right? And how do you? I mean, I know we tried. Did the U.S. steel to the Japanese? Did that deal ever go through? I remember they were still farting around with that.
Sure did.
Right. So,
it seemed like it. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of the idea of those kind of crucial parts of your economy and Americans' lives being steel, and chips are part of that now. Chips are a strategic resource for America, right? Copper's another one, and some of these other critical elements, right? Is you should be able to how do you figure out, and you're right, the idea that so many pharmaceuticals are being made in China is disgusting. And then the other part of this is, and this is something Higdog came up with years ago when we were talking about illegal immigration coming over from Mexico, because that was always an issue for Arizona and southern Arizona particularly. His take, and I agree with this, was how do you work with the Mexican government to get some of these items that are made in China? This could be some of your Walmart stuff, right? That how does it get shifted to, how do you help Mexico get more of that there, right? And they can start raising their people at least up to a middle class, right, who are living in poverty. And then maybe we wouldn't, I'd rather import from Mexico than import from China, especially since you also, the other thing about all this crap coming from China, it has to come from go through Little China, which is the state of California and those two big ports. And then anything that's a hiccup there chokes an entire economy also. I mean, the situation on that is also a train wreck. So that's my take on Chinese made goods. So that's where we're at.
The president, whoever's president, will one day realize they have to kill this toxic relationship or redefine it.
Yeah.
And they will be forced to redefine it. So that's my prophetic message on that.
So I'm going to move to a little faith on you right now. Our boy Cardinal Sarah from Guinea talked about, he had a thing about talking about the death of Christianity in Europe. He says if Christianity disappears in Europe, the whole world is threatened, and talked about how enshrining abortion in your constitutions is a huge, huge problem. And he says Europe is tearing out its Christian roots and by doing so, destroying its identity. So when we see this idea of, and this goes back to our Christian persecution you were talking about, it says, according to Open Doors, which was the group that did the estimate of how many people are being murdered in Nigeria right now, says 380 million Christians face persecution or restrictions on religious freedom. And he keeps talking about how when you start ripping out your religious roots like that, nothing good happens. Are we seeing those death by 1,000 cuts in America? Where do you think we're at in that? Or is there a resurgence?
You get spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare it's gotten through the federal government. It's gotten through the church itself.
Yep. Is
there a resurgence? Possibly like the event with Charlie Kirk was an eye-opener for some people. You know, you talk to young people today, they are kind of in a catch-22. And they're coming to the conclusion that this atheism really doesn't work.
Right.
Secular atheism. They're not happy. You know, they don't have the answers to the bigger questions in life. They're not getting married. They're not having kids. They're missing a stability in life. So it's an ebb and flow. I don't think there's one all answer
right
to this. But you're very right. Where to me, you look at the radical left in this country, they are anti-God. They are pro-abortion at all stages. And, you know, you can't get these people you have to really press them, but they are for abortion outside the womb. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of leaders are these people? And now when you see Bernie Sanders and they think they are attracting some young people, but they're selling themselves short. They're selling themselves out because they're looking for a government handout because they've given up on their own ability. They've given up on their hopes and dreams for their family. And at the last resort, they want the government to be the answer. But where in history, in the last 200 years, has the government been the answer for that?
Nowhere, right? And again, the government became part of the family unit in the 70s, right? That's exactly what happened when, and we've talked about it before, right? The idea that you not only had Roe v. Wade, but at the same time you had the sexual revolution. There was no stigma in the unwed mother anymore having a child. You had fathers abandoning their families, and you had government was very willing to be the one of the parents of multiple generations of children through K-12 schools, welfare, all of these different things. And so you want to know why the kids of today there's a good portion of kids and adults today who are messed up. Well, it's because the government was one of their daddies. And this is where, when the government becomes part of the family unit, and we talk about the lack of faith, family, and schools to balance that, welcome to America in 2020. As our good friend of ours would say, Joe, welcome to America.
Well, so look at the mayoral race in New York City.
Yep.
Okay, so he wants to have free bus. So he's almost taking the Tucson playbook, but of course Tucson gets it from a national. Grocery stores, high commercial grocery stores, Of course, he walks things back. He doesn't like Israel. He thinks Gaza's great. And you say to yourself, now he's a contender to win the race for mayor of New York. And so we'll see if he wins. But are enough people gullible enough to think that by giving up and selling their life out for a few bucks for the government to shelter them?
Yep. Correct.
So the question becomes, where did we lose this identity? And is there, I don't think the radical left will ultimately redefine the American dream, because I think there's enough sane people out there that know they're being lied to.
Right.
But the way we've had immigration in this country for the last 10 years, and the way we have divided sex and different people than ever, ununified in thought and in philosophy of what an American is, a lot can happen. A lot wrong can happen.
No, I think there is that resurgence of, we're seeing it in the younger folks, and part of that Charlie Kirk message, right, is look for and embrace God, find someone of the opposite sex and fall in love with them, have as many kids as possible, and live the American dream. That's how this comes back. And we always talk about there's the demographics of the world, right? So Mark Stein, who used to fill in for Rush in the old days, talked about the demographics of Europe, right? That the average European was having 1 kid a year, but the average Islamic migrant was having 4 to 5 kids in their lifetime, right? Against 1 in a lifetime of a couple, and how just the demographics was going to start changing the face of how Europe acted and looked, right? Well, in the long term, right, I think the people who are following that Charlie Kirk, embrace God, have a family, find someone to fall in love with that have multiple kids, where our friends on the left who were really excited about all the population control of COVID, right? And they don't want to have anything to do with meeting another person or having a kid, or if they somehow get, in their words, accidentally pregnant, we can abort the child. So if we play our cards right, just on the demographics, right? Those people that are having 2.5 kids compared to the people having 0.5 kids, that will also change how America acts and looks in the next 10 to 20 years.
Financial stat. Here's a financial stat. Morgan Stanley, the geniuses at Morgan Stanley. By 2030, roughly 45% of all women will be single and childless.
Wow.
That is the vision of the new society. They're never wrong, right? They're Morgan Stanley.
Right.
And so this will economically impact this nation. So you're going but people are not going to be happy. People are not designed to be single. Women are not designed, they're self-sufficient island. So it's a recipe for disaster, and it's coming if we don't take heed. And so Charlie Kirk's message of faith and family and community, it's a pro-life message.
Yeah.
But the message of the radical left is to support the culture of death, the egoistic culture of death, where the government will solve all your problems. Nobody quite understands what you're going through, but we're here to help. And abortion is a great right. It's a great liberty. And that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong with America. That's what's wrong with business in America. It's too short-sighted.
It's interesting that
Morgan Stanley, 2030, you got a disaster. Go ahead.
You brought up the phrase, the culture of death, right? Which reminds me of Evangelum Vitae by Pope John Paul. And think about it. There's a guy who lived and suffered under communist rule, right? That helped forge his faith journey and how he thought about stuff. And he talks about the culture of death in Evangelum Vitae that came out in the 80s, I believe. And you saying that phrase now in relation to the society and the dynamics of what's going on, especially with our friends on the left, even makes more sense now than ever that a guy who suffered under communism used the phrase evangelum, a culture of death. So
Culture of death. Take city of Tucson. Take city of Tucson. They really believe abortion is a breakthrough for women. Culture of death. Right? They really believe free busing is revolutionary as they're destroying their city and destroying the dynamics of it. Culture of death. Go to the schools. They think kids have a right to vape drugs in the bathroom in high school. Culture of death. Because all those kids, when they get out of high school, are going to be on the street without a job. Culture of death. They think women should be independent and they can do it all and not have kids. Culture of death. They just go down the line. And you have to say to yourself, what am I buying into politically and socially? And that's what the younger people are starting to question. And thank God you have a message like Charlie Kirk. Because if you don't have anything conflicting, after a while you start to believe what you hear the most. And the culture of death is alive and well right here in the city of Tucson.
On that note, that's a perfect way to end today, sir. I appreciate the conversation. Love you lots. Have a safe travels. And I'll talk to you later today.
Love you too. We'll be checking out the road construction up here in Phoenix, seeing all the tax money that Tucson's not getting to see how real roads are being built. And, Father Bob has promised to take me for a authentic New York pizza after we're done with our holy work today. Hey, Chris. And
Father Bob.
So we're doing. Let me tell you, we're doing the work of Live the Dream Media. We're like advanced scouts. We're trying to get a bigger perspective of this state, right? Instead of just the daily grind of Tucson, the city council, the city council. There's a big world out there, but the city of Tucson is a beautiful microcosm of the failure. The true failure of the left and what it promises the youth. So all you young people listening, get out of your pajamas, go down to downtown Tucson this morning, take a good look at what your future is. And it's certainly not bright.
You know what it is?
On that note,
I'm going to put
yes, sir.
I'm going to put one more little bow on that. The city of Tucson, you inspired this, is a scared straight socialist theme park. If you want to see it, it's like Six Flags, Great Adventure, but it's a horror show. So, all right, you and Father Bob.
It's a creep show, and these people will celebrate Halloween, right? They think Halloween's a holiday, but they don't like Christmas. They hate Christmas, but they can't wait for Halloween.
Remember, it's a winter solstice tree downtown, not a Christmas tree. So, all right, you and Father Bob have a good road trip and have good New York pizza. That's all I can tell you.
And we'll be spreading the good news. Don't think we won't be doing the work of the Lord. We'll be spreading the good news up here in Phoenix, whether they like it or not.
Amen. All right, you and Father Bob have a great safe trip, and I'll talk to you later.
You too.
There it is, Brother Joe and Father Bob Rankin, the God Squad. Coming in a few minutes is a Marana Oro Valley Experience with Clinton Dave. You're on Live the Dream Media, and hopefully the global internet outage gets fixed by tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, academic freedom, a city that you would not expect is killing Tucson on economic development, and the crew from Desert Rose Tax in the third hour. All right, live the dream. We'll see you guys later.